Hello, everybody. Hello and welcome. I am Trooper SJP, and this is the Academic Foxhole. Hi, this is our first Saturday stream since I have moved to Seattle, and it's good to see you all. It's a bit of a late start because um, messaging with my landlady about the wet carpet and all that, but I think the carpet is mostly dry. Hey, Wizard Styles Trick or Treat. Hello, hello. Um, it's good to see everybody. I'm going to be talking a little bit quietly um, because I'm paranoid. Um, but we'll see, how it goes. Also, this is the Academic Foxhole. We're going to be playing Hitman, World of Assassination. And um, we have questions that we have to ask ourselves about murder. Also, gaming questions that I think all of you will have thoughts about. Uh, hmm, uh, it's a good question, Krellin. It's a good question. Hmm. Paranoia for next summer. Oh, are we talking about the RPG Paranoia? Because I certainly have thoughts about that game, which the first edition I loved very, very much. Um, so I'm just being a character, yes. Pope, I want to talk to you about Paranoia. I do. I want to talk to you about Paranoia. Um, and uh, Carlin, I have a very complicated answer for that question.
Somebody's watching me.
I always feel that somebody's watching me, and I have no privacy. Oh, I always feel that somebody's watching me. Tell me, is it just a dream? Ba-da-ba-bow. Thank you for that follow. Uh, who, who did it? Somebody followed me. Uh, and oh, Hestonks. Hestonks. Also, hold on. I'm getting weird things. Yes, Hestonks. Thank you for the follow. Thank you very much. I just clicked off some alerts so I could see that you followed me. Thank you. Um, maybe Artie. I would say yes. That's a better way of putting it, Artie. Hey, I'm doing very well, Hestonks. How are you doing? We are about to play Hitman, uh, uh, season one. Hitman, the first season. The thing is, I think this game that I have, Hitman, the complete first season, uh, the Steelbook edition, I think it doesn't exist anymore. I think at some point in time, they converted this game from a single player offline game to an online game world only, and I'm not quite certain that you can upgrade from this to the other one. It's a little unclear to me because when I go into the game store to get part two or whatever, they're like, it's no longer available. So I think something happened in this interim where I'm somewhere in this kind of odd limbo. That's what I think. That's what I think. Um, so what we're going to do is we're going to start playing, and then I'm going to tell you about stuff, including Hope Worldbuild's question about paranoia, and also Krellin's question about no, wait. Also, I have one other thing to do before we start, though. Paranoia. Oh, it was not a question that Krellin asked, but it was a question that I thought about Krellin of, and it was a question that somebody asked on Reddit. I find RPG Reddit to be so fascinating because it's full of people who um, do not know a lot of different games. Like they've played maybe D&D and maybe Pathfinder and that's it, or they've only played uh, PBTA games and that's it. And then they ask these questions that are questions that maybe you wouldn't ask if you have played other games. Or if you've been paying attention to like, or maybe they've never played the most recent edition of X, Y, or Z. And some of these questions are fascinating to me, and one of them made me think about Krellin because it has to do with paladins. So do not let me forget. I want to talk about paladins, and I also want to talk about paranoia. So two P's. But first, the name game. Come on, everybody. Said, now let's play a game. I bet you I can make a rhyme out of anybody's name. The first letter of the name, I treat it like it wasn't there. And then a B or an F, or an M will appear. And then I say boo at a B, then I say the name, then banana, fanner, and foe. Then I say the name again with an F, very plain. Then a fee, fi, and a mo. Then I say the name again with an M this time, and there isn't any name that I can't rhyme. Trick or treat, trick or treat, trick or treat, bo big or treat, banana, fana for fig or treat, fee, fi, mo, mig or treat. Trick or treat, the name game. Thank you so much for that resub, Trig. I appreciate that very much. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Uh, uh, Hestonk says, I have the Steel book too. I remember it came out in 2018. I feel like 2018 seems like it was just yesterday, but I think maybe it wasn't, right? Do you know what I mean? Yes, yay. Does it think it's a TV series? Maybe. Yeah, so this is the thing. I like when I had gone to the uh see, thank you, Hess Tonks. Like, I just think that you may not be able to upgrade from. I think something weird happened. I cannot confirm it, but this is my feeling. I can't confirm, but it's what I think, right? So, and which is so odd. I think. Oh, hey, have you heard about this scandal? There's a scandal that I've heard about. I don't know. I'm not 100% connect. Oh, you know what? Actually, I think I'm not actually. What I actually need to do is load a game. Is what I'm at, because we have a game. We were like right in the middle of this Colorado mission. Uh, doesn't it? Yeah. So here we are, the Colorado Freedom Fighters. Wow, it has been a little bit of time since we played. Ooh, May 10th. What is that about? Wow. Well, here I think is our most recent save. Whew. Oh. Okay, so here's oh, so here's where we're at right now. We are in the last big main location mission. We're in this weird compound of it's a compound in the middle of Colorado, and we've killed all of our targets. So we've done all the assassinations we need to do. We just need to infiltrate the tornado shelter, is what we're doing. Uh, and hold on, and uh, this is my first time playing it on the PS5 because I brought my PS5 with me to Seattle rather than the PS4, and it is now set up. So now we're on a new console, and we're gonna see how it goes, right? Have I played all? No, this is my very first playthrough. It's my first playthrough, and I'm also unspoiled, so I'm pretty excited. And what we've done so. Hmm. Uh. Hey everybody, give me a chance to see what's going on here. Uh. Okay. So weirdly enough, uh, what happened there? Yeah, I had a 20-second moment of instability, but I do seem to be back. What is this? What was that? Hmm. Okay. Weird. Hmm. Uh, I I am back. Uh, it's okay. So for those of you who don't know, um, I am in I'm in a new apartment. I'm here in Seattle for the um summer and the fall, and I'm living in this apartment, this basement apartment that's in I'm living in an apartment that's in the basement of a house that my landlady lives in, and she had very good internet that had like download speeds of 6 and 10. It's no good. So mm, so I went and I just got my own internet, like a 5G cellular internet, which has been I've had it since Thursday night, and it is much better. There's really no way else to say that besides much better. But I'm still like watching to see if there are any kind of blips, and we just noticed one. Hold on. My router's not saying anything weird, so I think it looks like it's fine right now. Um, uh, I look like I'm back, uh, and it seems like I'm back. So just, just let's uh let's just keep our eye on it, right? We're gonna keep our eye on it, and if you see anything weird, let me know immediately because this is we are in this process of. Let me pop out this chat here. We're in the process of keeping our eye on how everything goes. Uh, I mean, look, again, this should be. We're also going to do something. Since we're here, testing continues until improvements are made. Right, what I'm going to do, by the way, since we just had a weird moment, although, again, right now it says everything is excellent, I'm going to just pull up my. Oop, pardon me. Give me a moment. I'm going to pull up my activity monitor just so I can keep it up in the corner, just so I can see how everything is doing. Give me a moment because I want to just, you know, you know how it is. Let me see. Hello, activity monitor. Just because we're getting settled in a new location with new internet, and I'm just gonna just check, just keep my activity monitor up so I can see it and make sure everything is fine. And actually, I'm not having too much CPU pressure. My memory pressure is pretty fine. Uh, Network looks good. Disk usage looks pretty good, so it looks pretty good at the moment. I'm also using a brand new browser, by the way, in case you want to know. Uh, oh, hey, Pope. I love you, Pope. Um, so, uh, one of the things that we're looking at is I'm using a brand new browser. I'm using Vivaldi because Vivaldi is Chromium, which means you can use it on Video Ninja, but apparently it's quite lightweight, so it doesn't take up a lot of CPU. I mean, I do have quite a lot of CPU, but everything we can do to make it easier for everybody all around. So look, it's looking pretty good to me. We'll just let's keep our eyes on it. Just let me know if you see anything, and you know, I've got my eyes on it. Okay. Whew. Whew. Okay. Paladins, Paranoia, and uh, I think I think that's us. I think that's us. Oh, yeah. So I was just doing a search for Chromium browsers that are lightweight, and Vivaldi. There was another one called Brave, but Vivaldi came up, and it is apparently Brave has has better security, I think, in terms of privacy, but it might also have a fee. Vivaldi is a has a. I've not really used Vivaldi. I mean, I'm using it right now, but I've not dove into it in like full detail. But apparently, it is very good for people who. Mm, how do I put this? Well, the reviews that I read, and please do not take what I'm about to say as an indicator of anything, but it did say that Vivaldi is really good for people who might uh, have a lot of tabs open at any given time. Not that I would. You know how I am. So apparently it has very good tab management that like it lets you like group tabs in very interesting ways and if that is true, then that would be very useful for me because then I could have like my academic tabs here and I could have like because I tend to have tabs my tabs tend to function as I'm sure I never have any more than 3 tabs open. Nope. You know, Firefox, by the way, Firefox just takes up both because I've been using uh, a combination. I technically have 3 browsers up. I have Safari, Firefox, and Chrome, and I will tend to use like Safari for academics, uh, Chrome, and whenever I'm running TTRPGs, I usually have 2 different browsers, one for the Video Ninja and then one for the Roll20. So if this is going to be, if Vivaldi will be less stress on my computer, that will be great. And at the moment, it doesn't really seem to be taking up much space at all. I'm looking at it, and it's pretty lightweight, it looks like. Chrome is definitely the most hungry, but Firefox isn't too far behind nowadays. Ooh, 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 ooh. Ooh. Uh, infinite tabs. Uh, yeah, so, and both of those are pretty dense. And I really like Safari, but uh, they really recommend something Chromium for Video Ninja, so we will see how that goes. We're trying it out. Uh, and I do not know why we had that crash, and it happened like I don't know, 18 minutes in, something like that. So we're just gonna look at it. And what I'm looking at, not that you care, uh, but really great, steady quality. And then it, there was this one unstable moment. Why? I don't know. I can't tell you. But it was, we had about 21 minutes of stability, and then we had 20 seconds of wah, and then we're back to stable. So things look good, I guess, at the moment. Um, I've made the decision not to use Windows after the Win 10 is obsolete later this year. Oh, interesting. Uh, are you going to go Linux? Are you, hey, I've got a question for people who know these things more than I do. Um, you know SteamOS? What exactly is it? Do you know what I'm saying to you? Like, is it actually an OS or is it just like, what is it? What is it? Uh, Atomic says, I'm in a good mood. I wrote a 2,000-word short story in Jane Austen style for college and got a 95. Oh, Atomica, what a cool assignment. What was it about? Carlin says, I'm just looking forward to not having updates pushed on me anymore. Wait, what's happening with Windows? I've heard rumor about this as well, and I want to know about it. So, we at this moment have to, can we get a, is this it? We're going to look at the map so that we can figure out what we're doing. So we are at the moment, we are in a, I thought we might have saved something a little bit farther along. Apparently not. So this here is the compound. So we've murdered all the people we need to murder. We've assassinated all the people. There were like 4 of them, I think. And they have this special compound because who doesn't have a compound in Colorado? And we need to infiltrate this compound and I think just get Uh, level 2. So there is something we have to steal or get, and then we finish the mission. And then I think we're kind of uh, good, to be honest. I think there are these blueprints or some sort of thing we have to do. And if we do it, we're good. So we just need to get from this shed into the house, which I thought we did last time, but apparently not, and do the last thing. That's the last thing we have to do. Uh, in October, Windows 10 is out of service, and they won't be pushing any more updates for it. Huh. How long will we be able to still use it? Barantor says, I'm currently using Linux Mint on this machine. I can play almost all my Steam games through a thing they have in Steam called Proton. Otherwise, it's like any other desktop, and it's not as Linuxy. Huh. Oh. Hestock says, you're going to have a blast playing Hitman, one of my favorite games. Yeah, I mean, I've had a blast so far. This is the last location in season 1. So I think you can go back and like try multiple times and all that, and I've done a little bit with the very first 2 missions, but uh, let's see. I chose to write about a young woman who just came home from college in Cape Cod from SCAD. Oh, nice. And how she was reuniting with a friend from college who lived on a country club. Oh, and was introduced to her brother. My teacher praised me because almost everyone else just added on to existing stories while I made my own and went modern. Oh, that's okay. Okay. I want to hear more about it because I can see it. As long as you want to use it without updates. Yeah, Krellin, that's the thing, isn't it? Right? There's a way in which you can keep with the thing that's working for you for a while, and then at some point in time, the planned obsolescence hits, and then you can't. As soon as Win 10 is unsupported, it will be a risk to use it due to security issues. Oh, I see. Right. Many machines that are fine otherwise don't meet the requirements for Win 10, 11. Oh. Uh, okay, I have follow-up questions since I don't use Windows, but I also still want to hear more about the SCAD. Like, what did you do to make it Jane Austen-y? I think the question I have, I hope that, well, we're gonna, is it, I'm trying to remember what all of their, okay, that was the, command, great. People with dots are going to recognize me, so that's less good. Okay, okay, okay. Security is a grossly overblown concern. They aren't cutting off virus updates for Defender. It's kind of like Microsoft forcing you to buy a new machine. Oh, I see. Interesting. First, let's just do a quick... Okay. So, as it turns out, there's something on the other side of the house we need. There are people everywhere who can recognize us. Let's avoid them. But I don't think these people in front of the house are going to give me any trouble. Okay, okay, okay. Primarily, I just got a new computer, primarily for Windows 11, more memory and a new graphics card. Sorry to ask what seems like it's probably a silly question. When did Windows 11 come out? Is it brand new? Look, there's a well. Hey, Timmy. I would totally jump in that well, but I feel like it's probably a bad idea. And I think I also have forgotten all of the controls. Hold on. So aim, run, holster, unholster, inventory, drop item. Okay. Place item, menu notebook, moving camera. That's all fine. Crouch, shoot, reload and instinct, interact, pick up, take body drop. Okay. Agility action, stick disguise melee. Okay, okay, okay. Oh, Win 11 has been out for years. Oh. Hey, Drathther, how are you? It's hard to know for sure, but I think SteamOS was just developed to give Valve more control, moving away from Windows, when developing for their Steam Deck handheld. It's intended to be optimized for gaming, I think. I don't know if they have any intention of doing anything with it outside of handheld. Right, because I've seen them say things like SteamOS, and I was like, well, but what does that mean? Because I was very uncertain what SteamOS actually meant, and it seems like right? Uh, so it's for their handheld device. How is their handheld device? By the way, I think my stream. Oh, my stream actually just went full on down. We're going right here. We're in. I'm just pulling up the Twitch inspector so I can see how my stream is going. You see how it is. SteamOS is mostly for Stream Deck, yeah. It's not really a general user OS yet, or if it'll ever be. The big thing is their support of Proton, which lets you play Windows-only games on non-Windows computers. It might actually work for Mac too. I know it does work for Linux. Uh, may I ask follow-up questions about this? What? But the StreamOS is only on their handheld, is that right? Or can you use SteamOS on your desktop computer? I would love to know more about this. Also, I assume we can like infiltrate this house through this well, but details are unclear to me at the moment. You can download it for anything, but they don't offer support for desktop. Huh. Huh. Oh, there's a camera there, by the way. We don't want that. Gee, I have no idea if I've been seen or not. Although if I don't go up to the door, maybe that camera won't see me. Let's avoid the camera. We're just doing a quick walk around. There's some bodies that I've left unattended. Okay, that person will know who I am. We don't like that. There's a camera there. Do we need to get into the basement of this place? Handheld gaming. You know, I really should, Huh. Okay, so we have to avoid this side of the house. This is... Oh, that guy up there will also know who I am. That's not the best.
I think you should hide that thing.
Okay. Sure. Can I holster this? What's holstering? Holstering is... I feel like I am holstered. No? No? Holster. I feel like I'm holstered. Oh, now I'm holstered. Sorry. I was not holstered, but now I'm holstered. Here's the thing. I want to get in. Hey, by the way, does anybody have... Hey, look, those are dead bodies. I killed them. In case anybody wanted to know. Just you were curious. We've saved. We're in a decent space. Like, I want to know if I can just get in here. Like, because that seems like it would be really convenient if I could just jump in this well. Although, actually, it would probably kill me. I know that I can shimmy up to get onto the top floor. That's probably the best way to go, right? Yes.
Good job, recruit.
Oh, thanks. Hey, look, there are cute little birdhouses up there. A birdhouse to our soul. Is it... Agility actions are X. Okay. Can I do an X? Nope. So we cannot climb into this. And I don't think we have a jump button. I don't remember there being a jump. So no. I don't think we can get in here this way. We can probably push people down the well, though. Hey! Jupux Fruit OG. How are you? There's a dead body. I killed him. Welcome in, Devin Rue. How are you? And hey, John. How's everybody doing? So does anybody have a Steam Deck? And if so, how is it? So I think I'm going to have to climb up this... I think this is how we get in. Other opportunities. We try to sneak past this guy right here. Yeah. That's the drill sergeant guy. Maybe if we just sneak right past him, behind him, he won't say anything. Then maybe we can just walk into the house this way. Although there are people right there, and there's also a camera. So let's do the thing. Wait. It would seem the militia is holding a hostage, someone known as a herald. The term does not appear in ICA archives, but no doubt he belongs to whatever mysterious organization the militia is targeting. Oh.
Head up in the interrogation room. He's one of the enemy's couriers.
Hey, we just learned something. These people,
Right, we've told you some serious stuff. Now prove you can deal with it and give me 100. Now,
I don't know how I feel about the people
doing the best I can.
in this house. Just for the record, uh, scale. Oh, I can probably just get in this window, right? There are people looking at me, though. I mean, I don't know if they're paying attention. Uh, you know what? We're gonna risk it for the biscuit. Uh, I can call you Fred. Right said Fred? Just, because Right said Fred, of course, did the song I'm Too Sexy. I'm too sexy for my shirt, too sexy for my shirt, so sexy it hurts. I'm a model, 90s Eurodance, somebody. Uh, uh, we have a Steam Deck, but it's monopolized by my 15-year-old. I presume it's pretty good. I have a question about that. Uh, it's Grays. Oh, cool. Hey, Grays. You changed name change. Nice. I love what he says. There's a dead body. I killed him. Like Bob Ross says, we're going to give this happy little tree a friend. uh, I have one. I generally enjoy it, but I also think it contributed to my problems with my wrist since it's quite heavy. Oh, interesting. So I don't have any mobile devices because I have a phone, but I don't know how I feel about it. Tomika says, I was gifted a Gen 1 Steam Deck. It's a little less user-friendly than my Switch, and it will let you download games that aren't compatible for it. Oh, thank you, Baron Torbot Proton. Thank you. Hey, Hawkeye. Hawkeye was thinking about you, too. I've been thinking about all of you, actually, because I keep having ideas. So we're going to just be risky. We're going to see what happens if we just climb in this window.
Whoa.
Hey. There's nobody in here, and nobody seemed to have been bothered. So there are beer cans everywhere. 1,000. Wait. So we need to get into the tornado shelter, obviously. And also we're going to just pick up a hammer. Because who doesn't like to have a hammer? I think we all like to have a hammer. Also, how many rolls of toilet paper do they have in here? It's like a lot. Okay, so there's... Okay, we're going to just do it. Have you talked about paladins? I've not talked about paladins. I'm going to talk about paladins now. So how's the internet been, Jer? We had the stream went down. It died for like 20 seconds and it restarted and everything. But other than that, it's been really good. I'm minding it. We've got some poison, which we love. Who doesn't love poison? I don't know if what we'll need it for, but this is our first time in this building, so we're just experimenting. The guy outside is staring at me. It's super rude. I don't like it.
Hi there, Grunt.
Oh, hey, how you doing? Honey Bear cereal and Apple Brand Crunch. Oh, what's your favorite cereal? Apple Brand Crunch? I feel like Apple Brand Crunch. I'm gonna just note for the record that this place has got really, it's beautiful. This is a really beautiful game. I love, oh, which one is this? Captain Sugar Rush. Captain Sugar Rush is not my favorite cereal. Oh, thank you for the PDF story. I'm happy to read it. Oh, I'm very excited. So, yeah, one stream crash. But other than that, everything's been looking really good. So
explosives. We got plenty. Good. That reminds me, I need to check with Rose if we need anything special for Mexico.
Yeah, I guess it won't hurt. We don't want
What are they
Rose on our ass if we miss something.
Hey, you. On your feet, soldier, and stop slacking.
Yeah, I got some questions about... Hey, is that a key? I've got some questions. I'm gonna just pick up this garage key. Ooh, intel. This is a key that grants access to Ezra Berg's makeshift drug laboratory built inside the garage on the side of the main house. Okay.
Hey, don't you get cocky with me. I'm your superior. There will be penalties for your attitude, soldier.
Hey, Um, did you hear that guy yelling at people? I'm gonna just tell you as a former soldier, people like that are not good leaders, and they're not good trainers, and they're not good to be around. They're not. That's the person who's like dealing with ego, and people dealing with ego tend not to be good. Do you know what I'm saying? Hey, that guy looks a lot like me. I wonder if I could.
Warmonger.
Oh, wow. Did you just call me a warmonger? I won't kill you then. But I'm gonna take this room key. This is a key for Sean Rose's room, which can be found in the main house of the farm. You're not a superior officer, just a higher ranking one. Thank you, Atomica. Uh, okay. Are these guys hackers?
We trust in you, Private.
Thanks. I'll see you when you get right back, Fred. Fred. All right, let me see what's over here. We're gonna. Oh, blend in as a hacker. All right. Oh, hey. I can't blend in as a hacker. Let me just
Check
stand
up
over.
on the nitroglycerin. We need to make sure we got more than enough.
Wait a sec. Yeah, we're ready for
Nitroglycerin.
World War III.
All right. So where was it?
Okay, so I'm a little worried about what's happening here, but that's okay. Oh, can I blend in as a hacker? I cannot, because I'm clearly not dressed as a hacker. Do I need to be dressed as a hacker? Okay, so here's what we got. We got a bunch of guards there who can recognize who I am. We've got some hackers. We've got right up there on that top floor is where we need to go. So let's hey, I can unlock this door, I think. No, I cannot. Just kidding. I was just kidding with you. You know when I said I could unlock the door, I was like, ha ha ha. So funny. I can tamper with the grandfather clock. I can hide bodies, obviously. Okay, all right. Hey, we're learning a lot more about this militia, even though we sort of killed everybody. I know, Devin, I just feel like upstairs is bad. Like that guy right there can tell that I'm not supposed to be here. Where are you headed? What is your deal? I would love to kill this guy. Or not, I don't want to kill him. I just want to knock him unconscious. Or more likely, I want to see what his... Is that a Victrola? Do they have a Victrola? They have an old school Victrola in here. I'm going to just... Okay, this guy's just walked out. Let's just do a quick... There is a Victrola. That's great. I need to go over here. Okay, this guy, I just don't want him to follow me or look at me or do anything that involves me. All right, I think, let me, oh gosh. So this is a 3D printer. It seems important, but, whew. Wait, we're going to pause right now. We're going to save. We're just going to save right now because we're inside the house and nobody's killed us, so... Wait. Is the stream's not dead right now, right? Wait. Wait. Hey, did it just die? If it was dead, oh, okay, okay. Right. Okay, but why? You're right. It just did die. That's weird. I don't like that. It died for you, but it's currently on, right? So I'm seeing it. Why? That's very weird. I wonder if it's me. See, now I'm paranoid. I don't know if it's me or if it's them. It's currently on. You had to refresh. Okay. Could be still adjusting. Well, I'm just going to... Look, what we're doing is stress testing and trying to figure out what's what. Because at the moment... By the way, thank you all for I appreciate... Hold on a second. Wait. So, just, just, just checked something. I just checked something, and, I have learned something important. Uh, so I was like, let me just go check my internet while we're here and hang out. And by the way, I do appreciate very much you, we have not saved yet, you working with me to make sure that my internet, because we're testing, because we've got a brand new TTRPG next Friday, and I want to make sure we're all good, right? So I just want to let you know what I did. I was like, let me just go check my internet since everything is looking pretty decent. And this is what I can tell you. I was logged on to the house's Wi-Fi, which I did not want to be because the house's Wi-Fi is not as good. But that should not be a big deal because I also am, I have connected my computer through the Ethernet cable to my router, my cellular router. That said, I wouldn't be surprised if being on the bad Wi-Fi as well as the good Ethernet cable might have made things weird. So I've just swapped over, so I'm now on my Wi-Fi as well as the Ethernet cable. Right?
Name game.
That might make a difference. I see you, House. I see you. When I finish this thought, House, I'm going to sing for you, but I have to finish this thought. Would that make a difference? Do you know what I'm saying? Because when I looked, I was like, oh, my Wi-Fi is the wrong Wi-Fi, but now it's the right Wi-Fi. And I don't know if it does make a difference. Because it might. Yes, no? Yes, no? Nonetheless, we are now currently on the correct Wi-Fi. We'll find out. Maybe I could be surprised that maybe the computer doesn't like being on two separate networks at the same time. And it could be that. And yes, yes, yes. I feel like we'll find out. And we're stable at the moment. Okay. Before I go and mess with this 3D printer, I have to, and before I talk about paladins and paranoia, I need to, Devin, do you sing? And then I have to do something very important. What I have to do is, the name game. Come on, everybody. I said, now let's play a game. I bet you I can make a rhyme out of anybody's name. The first letter of the name, I treat it like it wasn't there. And then a B or an F, or an M will appear. Then I say Bo at a B, then I say the name, then banana, fanner, and foe. Then I say the name again with an F, very plain, then a fee, fi, and a mo. Then I say the name again with an M this time. There isn't any name that I can't rhyme. House of Dreams, House of Dreams, House of Dreams, mo Mouse of Dreams, banana, fanner, fo, Fouse of Dreams, fee, fi, mo, Mouse of Dreams. House of Dreams, the name game. Thank you. Thank you. House of Dreams, if you don't know House of Dreams, let me give you a streamer shout out. So House of Dreams, streamer, House of Dreams. I wish you could just like click on a person that way. Thank you, House. So House of Dreams streams Wander Home, Vampire, a bunch of stuff on his channel with a bunch of sort of creating a big community channel. He's got a good Discord, good group of people. You can hang out. I was on Wander Home over there, which I feel like is sort of like a Mouse of Dreams. And you should hang out there. You should see them. They're very cool. Very, very cool. Ah, Devin Roos sings. Okay, Devin, I'm gonna just note that. Just noting it for no reason. There may be a reason. There may be a reason. Mouse of Dreams sounds like something that a huge media company might feel like is infringement. But it's spelled Mouse M-A-U-S, so it's totally fine. It's fine. It's fine. Yeah, Devin, I'm just gonna take note of that for reasons that nobody needs to worry about. By the way, there's a Twitch server in Seattle, which I'm in and also using, so it should be fine. But yeah, you haven't heard my voice before. We should change that. Yes, that we should. We absolutely should. So I'm here in this room, right? And I feel like I should just be able to do sketchy things now. And I'm gonna do sketchy by the way, is that guard anywhere that I need to worry about? I don't think so. Okay, well, hi. Okay, there's this 3D printer, and I would like to start it, but there is an exclamation point on it right around it, so I feel like if I start it, something bad will happen. Oh, there's that guy.
Oh, did I tell you?
What?
I found another one yesterday.
Another one? Oh, do tell.
Okay,
What?
so you know how Rose keeps his desk tidy like a Japanese garden, right?
Yeah?
Anyway, someone knocked a pen off center, and he just went full OCD. Had to go outside and chain smoke half a pack before he calmed down.
Right.
Seriously, one pen.
But I also think I killed him, so...
Yet. Okay, so what do we have?
Bloody hell.
What? Okay, hold on. Atomic, I have not seen your game recommendation. Please... Oh! Okay. I have a face mask resembling Sean Rose. It ought to fool the biometric scanner found outside their tornado shelter command room. This is good.
Like a complete dick.
Okay. I think I've done something really good. That's great. I feel great
Best one yet.
about this.
Okay, so what do we have?
Okay, okay.
Officer's
Also-
grandfather clock.
What kind of...
Turning off the faucet in his office.
What kind of 3D printer will fool biometric scans? Do you know what I'm saying? I have some questions about that. Okay, the command room. The farm's tornado shelter is protected by an advanced biometric lock. It must be the militia's command room. Once the targets are eliminated, which I did, the shelter is likely our best shot to discover their agenda. According to the farm's layout, the entrance is through the basement. Okay,
Right,
so
right.
we're going to save, and we're going to get to the basement. Devin? Thoughts? Let's see. Contraband Police. I've been playing a game called Contraband Police. It would be interesting to see how you would deal with it. It's like Papers, Please, but with 3D FPS settings with cars. It also side missions. Ooh. It's a fictional kind of a 3D printer trooper. Devin, I was just thinking, because I found a new game, and so I've got these things on my mind right now, and I'm just gathering thoughts about people. That's all. I'm just putting it in my mind.
We should write that down.
Yeah. Wait. That's
Okay,
probably not a good idea, though. You know,
so we
unaccounted
need
stone cold terrorist and all.
Well, terrorists have
To-
a sense of humor too, don't they?
we need to go to the basement, I guess. Where are we headed? So we're here. I think where we need to go is... Oh, I don't know. I guess we just have to get to the basement. I guess. Yeah, but I guess... Okay,
Roses remains to be seen.
I also do need to download this game. I need to pick it up. I need to buy it from, what do you call it? Itch? And then just, check it out. It's got some... Oh, there's that guy. It's got some good opportunities. I'm interested in it. Okay, so, Paladins. I wanted to tell you about Paladins. So there is a question on... I guess I'm going this way. So there was a question on Reddit, and the question was, hey everybody, do you all think that... do you think that paladins are still too... Oh, Drafter, let me tell you. I'm going to tell you all about it, and then I'll tell you about paladins. So this Friday, we're doing a brand new RPG, and it's going to be a 6-shot, and this 6-shot is... Well, I would tell you what the title is, but I can't. Why can I not tell you? Because the title is not finalized, I guess. It's currently being called Martian Cowboys, but Simon, Wandering DM, has created an RPG,
You know it.
which, thank you, which is like a futuristic space western, right? So it's about Mars, a Martian colony. Like it's what happens if all the big billionaires, the tech bros and billionaires actually do go and colonize Mars, but then it turns out really, really badly, as these things sometimes do, and it's sort of, they're all gone now, but now we're all people on Mars trying to deal with what happens once we've gotten rid of the billionaires, and now we're just there and we're trying to sort of, it's a space western. And yes, I'm so excited. And we are going to be in this. So there are these different overlords. That's what the tech billionaires were called. And they're like different overlords. They're like, I think 8 of them maybe. They're all gone now. But each one of them has a different vibe. And Simon asked us, which overlord would we want to be? Which former overlord's lands do we want to be based in? Because each overlord have their own thing, right? And so which lands we're based in would sort of impact what kind of vibe we're looking at. And we are going to be in the Mr. Beast area, former Mr. Beast area, the sort of like weird reality show creeper dude. And so we're in a little town called Dead Valley because it has no signal strength, because we really have been tired of ubiquitous reality show monitoring. And we're in this little town. I'm Doc Hollywood. And Lindy is Poppy Pepler, big reality star, former, because we're no longer being monitored all the time. And then we have 2 more characters, Dipples and Dice and B Zelda. And I'm really excited. So that's gonna happen next Friday. And by the way, everything is looking really good now. I think that the problem was that I had somehow gotten onto the old Wi-Fi and it was conflicting with my new Ethernet. That's what I think. Yeah. The cast is really good. B Zelda's going to be playing a rancher, like a homesteader, and who... I have to tell you this thing because I think it's hilarious. We're doing character creation. I don't feel like backstory is spoilers. So we're thinking about like, what is it like to live in a land by some weird kind of billionaire overlord who wants everything to be a reality show, like everything to be a reality show in some way. And I was like, I bet everybody's surveilled, right, in some kind of a way, and whether or not you get food or resources, things like that, based on like how good your ratings are. But no, Artie, not Doc Holliday, Doc Hollywood. See, that's different. I have better teeth, and was also full of ubiquitous reality show shenanigans. So we thought like, I bet if you don't have really good ratings, then you don't get as many resources, right? Do you know what I mean? Like, I bet that the better your ratings, the more resources you get. And so B Zelda, they were saying that they were thinking that their character, this rancher, is just not very dynamic or exciting. And so our overlords are gone now, so that's all done. But they just didn't have good ratings back then, right? So they're sort of this kind of down-to-earth, grounded rancher who, like, Rancher Times Big Brother Rancher Edition just didn't get that many ratings. Very, very Hunger Games, yeah. And so we have a rancher, a homesteader rancher, that's B Zelda. And then we have Dimples and Dice, who is not from this area, who came from outside, who wants to be here. And by the way, we're all trying to create a new community because like the overlords are gone, and now we're trying to create this new community that is. One of the things he said is that, like, imagine that when you make this new community, in some ways you're going to be like the opposite of what it was before, right? Because we're all reacting against the fact that we all have this terrible survival Hunger Games Big Brother thing going on. So, we're trying to get away from that. The graphic for it looks really evocative. A sucker for a nice promo graphic. Oh, I know, me too. I'm going to be working on the overlay this week. So we've got the outsider who probably has money, who's charming in terms of dimples and dice. We've got our homesteader. We've got Poppy Pepler, who was the very popular and peppy reality show contestant. Like one of those people that had like good ratings. And I'm Doc Hollywood. I started off thinking, oh, I'll be the doctor that keeps everybody healthy to be in the games. Do you know what I mean? And by that I mean, like imagine me being like, imagine Doc Hollywood back in the day. This was the original thought. You know how when you're in like professional football and people get repetitive brain injuries and they should not be playing, or they get like a broken, they tear their ACL or something and they should not be playing, and the doctor's like, "Don't worry, I'll shoot you with cortisone. You can get back out in the field because we need to win the Stanley Cup, Super Bowl." Or that doctor who does the psyche valve for reality shows and finds out that you really, really hate people who like chess, and then I find somebody who really likes chess and I put you and make you roommates together. That person, I feel like that was who was going. That's how I was like, I'll be that person, right? Who now, of course, feels guilt about all of that. Um, but then I realized that most likely he was also on a reality TV, right? So I was like, okay, if he was on a reality TV as well, not only did he keep people in reality shows and pit people against each other, but he probably was also being surveilled. Um, Atomica, Big Brother Rancher Edition reminds me of that reality show where they tossed a bunch of 10-year-olds into a western town in Arizona desert, then played Lord of the Flies. Atomica, link that in our media Discord. Healthy enough. Your doc is, don't worry, here's some liquid cocaine and morphine, you'll be fine. Yes. But then I realized that he was also being surveilled. So then I was thinking about some reality show plastic surgeons I was thinking about. Um, I was thinking about, what's his face? Um, do you know him? The Swan? Dr. Dubrow, and he was the one of the plastic surgeons for the Swan, where they took people with poor self-esteem and then gave them like 18, 19, 20 plastic surgery procedures in 1 week so they could then go and compete in a beauty pageant. Super questionably ethical. And then I think after he left the Swan, he did Botched, where he like tried to help people who had bad plastic surgery. So I was thinking that maybe also a mix of that, because I can do plastic surgery. And then there's like a and then I was remembering that there was like a plastic surgery reality show. I think it was called like Dr. Beverly Hills or something. And the doctor on that show, as a plastic surgeon who like, he's got like scrubs but like no sleeves. And he's very, yeah. So I was thinking like a mix of these kind of slightly questionable plastic surgery doctors on reality shows, but then also the guy that keeps people in the reality shows physically and mentally. So but now all of that's done, and now you're like, oh, you're really guilty about all that, right? Hidden Nation. Oh, please, Atomica, please. He actually helped a couple of the Drag Race girls. I remember that House of Dreams, and some of them he wanted to help, but then he didn't, right? Yeah, I think it's gonna be really fun. It'll be a 6 session show. Also, by the way, I'm not seeing any instabilities right now. Everything looks really, really good. I think what happened, it was the computer was not happy with having two different networks on it. And I think I need to forget the main house network. Trinity the Tuck and Deeks Hawks both got help from him. One of them didn't get it done though, right? Because they needed to tour and it would take too long. That doc sounds like a Fiasco character. Yes. Speaking of Fiasco, y'all, Lindy has never played Fiasco, so I need to organize a session of Fiasco and make sure that Lindy's in it, because if there's anybody who should be playing Fiasco, it is Laugh Love Lindy, and that is just a true statement. I think we all know this to be the case.
Hey, soldier, what the hell do you think you're doing?
Pope. See, Pope knows what I'm saying. Lindy needs Fiasco so bad. Okay, we need to go
You are
out of this
pathetic.
house.
You know that?
Oh, hey.
If he knew he had half-wits like you working
All right, so how...
You are an insult to the cause.
I actually think maybe where we need to go is a basement. Yes, and after a few hours I should try flabbergasted. Yes, yes. Okay, so let me tell you. Also, I clearly need to get into the basement, which I think is actually just in this house, which means I need to go back out that way. Okay, paladins. So, also, I'm if the internet is fine from here on out, then I think we're gonna be really good.
Still good on ammo? Those idiots on the range sure know how to waste firepower.
All right, we
Looks
need
like
to get
it's
into the
in order.
basement.
Now everything seems to be in order. But let's do another check, just to be sure.
I'm gonna hit this map. So if I want to get down to the basement, there are two doorways, right? There's this one here and this one here. And, no, this one goes up and down and this one goes down. So I think actually,
Rose will have a fit.
Yeah.
do I have a lockpick? This way. This way? Okay. All right. Pulls out a notebook to resume. Okay, so the question was, this person asked, and it made me think about, oh, hey. It made me think about, Paladin. No, sorry, it made me think about, Krellin. Krellin said this thing and made me think about it. So, this person says, their question was, hey, do you all think that, what is over here? Military radio. That will probably be a distraction and get people to want to hang out here. Not necessary. So the question was, hey, do you all think that paladins are... I know exactly where we are. Do you all think that paladins are... What's the word? Obsolete. Like, the question was... Hold on, I need to articulate this with words. It was like, do you think that paladins are still too tied to divinity? No, there was a lot of really loaded language. It was like, do you think that paladins are still too shackled by being connected to divinity, or do you think we've finally gotten rid of those obsolete things we don't need? And I just remember, you know, this thing that Krellin was like, yeah, in 5e you don't have to have any connection to divinity at all. Like in 1e you did, but in 5e you don't. And I was going to respond to the Reddit post. This happens a lot, that I'll read a Reddit post that I think is interesting, and then I want to respond to it, but I was like, I don't think the people in this thread are interesting to talk to. You all are, but sometimes they are not. And what I would have said was, I actually don't think 5e is very specific anymore. Like, if there's one thing that I've noticed about the 5e generation is that they don't actually want constraints. A lot of those things that we were thinking about in the past were like flavor or constraints. If you have no faith, who are you? See, the thing is, Hawkeye, you don't, in 5e, you don't serve anyone as a paladin. You just serve your own creed. So you have, you basically take and Krellin can explain it a bit more in detail, I think, that you just take a vow for yourself. Like, it's all very personal. Like, there's no connection to divine at all in 5e paladins. They've just gotten rid of it. It's all whatever you want it to be, basically. And I was thinking about the ways in which in first edition paladins had to be lawful. Like, you could not be a chaotic paladin, period. It's about oaths, right? It's interesting, but yeah, there's no specific to any lower world. Serving your own creed, in other words, just a generic fighter. So the thing is, this was the thing that I was thinking about when I was about to answer that I didn't, is that what they've generally done is they've just made things very, very generic, actually, right? So in 1e, you had to be lawful in order to be a paladin. That being said, there's also nothing stopping you from springs. There's nothing stopping you, yeah. No one in my game is playing a paladin, but I had it set up so that paladins could be dedicated to a divinity, but they could also be powered by zeal in your oath. But what's interesting, right, is in first edition, you were connected to a god, specifically. You had to be lawful, you were connected to a god, and if you ticked off that god, you would lose your powers, right? The oaths have tenets that are defined outside the player, but they aren't an oath to a greater power specific. They could be, but they could just be your own belief, right? And so first edition, paladins had to be lawful. They could only use certain weapons and or the weapon of their god. If they upset their god, they would lose their powers, and they would have to make an atonement, like, to the god. So there were constraints on what a paladin could be. Also, there were constraints on what a barbarian could do. Also, there were basically all these classes had constraints. Like you got things, but you had to give up something. You would get something, you would give up something. It's like, remember in first edition Wizards, magic users, you could specialize in a school of magic, but then you would have some schools that were then anathema and you just couldn't cast from those spells. There's an Oath of the Crown, which is just a knight. I played one in a game. If you're not serving someone other than yourself, then there's no oath. You're serving whatever your current whim is. I don't know. I would suggest that a soldier is the same as a knight bound by chivalry. So what I have noticed, right? So to get, and this also ties into people being like, well, I want to play a this, but I don't want to have that drawback, or I want to have the bonus from that thing, or I want to go and reskin these things so that rage, like a barbarian's rage, could just be like meditation or concentration or laughter. Like there's like what I've noticed from the 5e generation is that they basically just don't want constraints, right, on their character's behavior. They kind of want to do anything. And so what I've seen is that through the idea of reskinning and removing a lot of restrictions, the characters feel so unrestricted as to be I suppose since they want you to be able to reflavor anything the way you want, it feels a little bit flavorless in certain ways, I think. Right? Given many classes are just one of the original 4 with give and take of some specifics, it makes sense how it was done to differentiate it from a regular fighter, but without only bonuses. Yeah. Yep, 5e folks really don't like constraints, I agree. And that's just what I felt, right? And this is not me saying, I'm not saying it's good or bad. They are saying it's good because I've seen a lot of people say that constraints are oppressive, right? So they don't want constraints. They want to be able to do whatever they want to do. And I don't think it's just the D&D 5e, by the way. I think that's more of a modern gamer mentality. Yes, Atomic God, that's what I was just going to say that. I think it's a modern gamer mentality than just D&D. I agree with you. If I can't do everything in this game, it's stupid and I hate it. The problem with opening up to casual gamers is most casual gamers don't like being challenged. I don't think there are a lot of casual gamers playing TTRPGs. It's not a, that's by the way, one of the reasons why I think that RPGs will never become mainstream, really, is because it's not really, even the most casual TTRPGer, it has to put in a lot more effort than somebody playing a video game or watching TV. Pearl says, okay, as an example, the Oath of Devotion tenets are, let your word be your promise, protect the weak and never fear to act, let your honorable deeds be an example. If you break those tenets, consequences come. Oh, interesting. Can I ask you, Pearl, where the consequences come from? So I would like to unlock this door, but I can't. I do not have the keys for this door. Well, okay, I think this means I just have to go in through that other entrance, which, if I recall correctly, might be a bit tricky to get into, but you'd think there'd be keys. There's a server room here, and I do not think... Okay, so nobody's observing me in here, so that's fine. Maybe, I wonder where those keys are. Oh no, but what does this do? Oh, that would turn off the server. I don't think I need to do that. I mean, I think I'm pretty good when it comes to all of that. All right, there is a... Hey, if I put on this mask, what do you think will happen? Right now. Well, it looks like I can't put this on right now. It looks like one of those things that I'll probably put on when I need it. So let's try going out the front door and see if we can get in that other entrance, which... Oh, hey. There's a security camera over there. I've been recorded... I know.
Hello, Private.
Hey, I got recorded by the security basement key. Garage key. What? I just picked up a bunch of stuff that was just hanging out in the lawn. This is a key for the house basement. I hear it. Look. We just walk outside and there it is. We've been surveilled. That's bad, but we'll deal with it. I think gamers. Let's see. Let me pause. Oh, the DM. Oh, I see. Maybe it's because my worldview, it seems taking away a deity to serve makes the paladin useless, like wanting the beliefs of a religious faith without actually being part of it. There's no defined system for what happens if you break your oath. Oathbreaker isn't defined. Oath subclass. Oh. I think gamers do like being challenged, just not challenged when it comes to character building options. I feel modern gamers really like having options to create the OC in their imagination rather than what the game dictates as standard. Back in the 3.5 days, this led to a lot of source book bloat. I don't think it's about challenge. I think it's about constraints. I think they want to have whatever they want to have, and they want to do whatever they want to do. And by that I mean, you know how there was like a whole big thing how they're like, we don't like the fact that like this race has this plus or this minus, et cetera, and they think that that was like no good. But I also saw some people were like, yeah, like I want to play a tiefling, but I also want to have the bonuses of an Aasimar. Like they just kind of want to. They just want. There's a kind of a bit of a power gamer vibe that's sort of being attached to no constraints. And what it makes me think of to sort of, I was thinking about not D&D, and I was thinking about how in Vampire V5, they got rid of the hierarchy in the Tremere, right? So like, yeah, the Tremere has no hierarchy anymore. So now you can be Tremere and never have to deal with a hierarchy because you don't have to worry about it. And then also, getting rid of the older, like there's like there's a kind of like a, I can do what I want, nobody can tell me what to do vibe. I feel like about a lot of the current moment in D&D, not just D&D, RPGs in general. And I've also seen people say things like systems that have disadvantages are bad because you shouldn't have them. It could be a thing that if you want to RP a disadvantage, it's fine, but there should be no mechanical drawbacks because that's actually oppressive. I thought I was like, oh, very different from my gaming world where constraints are, it's like that, so some of that comes from playstyles too, I mentioned. I think so, yes, as well. But I'm also thinking about like what's that word that like that there is like they talked about like with poetry, if you're trying to write something in a sonata form, that the form itself, the constraints of the form breed a different kind of creativity. And I've always found there's creativity in how do you deal with certain constraints? But what I'm seeing right now is that the current generation is just not into having constraints at all. They kind of just don't want constraints. I want to be what I want to be. Just because I'm a tiefling doesn't mean I have to have horns. You can't force me to do that. It's not fair. And there is a bit of that, right? Like, there's a lot of kind of a wish fulfillment sort of a situation going on. And that's also fine. Although somebody, Hector, House of Dreams, linked me a post where somebody was talking about City of Mist, and was talking mad smack because there's this one of the districts was sort of based on Black freedom struggles, and they're like, we don't like the fact that there's like oppression here, right? So like there's still like a lot of very different vibes about what people want and what they don't want, ideas of failure or not failure. There is some sense. TPRs are often explained as using your imagination, but oh, not like that. Does counteract things with rules sometimes. Yeah. And I think that it just kind of depends on like, I think all different ways of playing are legitimate, right? I think that not all ways of playing are for everyone, or every space, but I think, do whatever you want to do. You know what I mean? Yeah, a wish fulfillment is in a TPRG. What a concept. Of course, people have different desires, right? I'm thinking about I had a game concept that I feel like I could still do. It would be like a 3x5. It would be a game. I mean, I'd probably make it a little bit longer than the 3x5 game, but it would basically be the yes and game where the players just get whatever they want and the GM has to give it to them, and that's it. The GM's only move is just to say yes to whatever the players want, and the players can do whatever they want. And I just want to see what would happen if that were the game. Because there are people who have said that a GM should never say no to players, only say yes, and that players should basically never be told no. And so I kind of want to make a game just to see if people would actually like it. If we actually followed the advice that people keep saying, that players should be able to do whatever they want and GMs should never be able to say no, because that makes you a bad GM. Like, I just wonder what would happen if I just made a game that those were the rules. How people, if people would actually like it or if they wouldn't. Maybe people would. I don't know. I would. I just want to like it'd be kind of an experimental game, is what it would be. It'd be like a bit of an art piece, I think. But I would be interested to see if people would actually like a game where there is a GM and their whole job is to say yes no matter what. But the thing is, it wouldn't work as a GM-less game, right? Or as a everybody share the GM space, because in these conversations, the people want the GM there, but they don't want the GM to do anything they don't want them to do. So I'm just kind of, and I'm thinking about some of these games that were pretty GM hostile, like Burning Wheel and some of these other games that were pretty hostile to GMs, and like taking that to the next level, like just ramping that up to 11 and seeing what happens if you do that. If you ever tell your players, no, you're being abusive and a bad GM, some people say no, Artie, it's true, they do. They say that. By the way, I just got a caught on camera, which is rude. Hey, go in here. Ah! Hey, look. What's down here? Can I be down here? We're down here. Also, it'd be really nice to know where this... Oh, hey, that's bad. Those people can see me, and they won't like me. Who's allowed to be down here? Okay, so there's a guard here. And this guard knows that I shouldn't be here, so we don't like that. But you know what? I do have a hammer. And you know what's really great about hammers? You can throw them at people and then knock them unconscious. And we're going to do that, I hope. Yeah, so I want to do this kind of like a little weird art game. That a little sort of like an provocation. And, oh, I forgot the name of it. There is a game that I was just hearing about. Okay. What do we have here? Maybe I don't even need to take you out. Maybe I do. I don't... Okay. Let's hold on. Let's see what we have here, because we may not need to... We might be able to just avoid this guy. Maybe not. I don't know. I'll just look at him. Oh, okay, there. Okay. What do we have? I really want to take this guy out. And he just leans up against that thing, but you can't take people out if you don't have a body. Do you know what I mean? Like oh, there's a trunk and everything. Okay, so here's the thing. We're gonna take this guy out, and then we're gonna hide him in a trunk, and then no one can tell us what to do. All right. Okay. I'm into it. Can I? Whoop. Okay. I'm gonna save. I'm gonna save right now. I hope this guy doesn't make a huge loop, because if he does, then we would have totally lost our opportunity. But you know, it's fine. House of Dreams, a all-fully yes-and system could be interesting to see in practice. I imagine it might turn into a compatible game between players, but competitive. But that just comes from my experience playing in LARPs that devolve into complex PvP. Hector. I think I think a game that is that competitive would have I'm sorry, that in that setup, which is what everyone says in their advice that you should be doing, I think it would be somewhat problematic, actually. But I feel like you have to have it. Automa says, I actually had a campaign last year fall apart because of similar issues. I told them in the prompt, this is going to be a roguelike game. Your characters will die. The challenges are meant to be fatal. People join the game, characters died, people quit the game. Some players these days just can't handle not playing on God mode. So this is going to tie into Hector's comments about LARPs, but also my experience with text-based RPGs back in the day. House says, I used to be a very permissive storyteller when running LARPs, and it really bugged some players because they felt as veterans they were entitled to more resources and attention than new players. Yeah. I really think I need to make this game where basically the players do whatever they want, and as the GM, I have no agency, no authority, and I'm basically a slave to the players who can just force me to do whatever they want me to do, which is just to praise them and give them whatever they want. But because the thing is, within this mentality, they don't want to say, I want it. They want me to just give it to them. Because if they just say, I have it, then it feels cheap. So I have to say, you have it. But I can't ever say no. So I really think I need to do this game. I think I need to run it. It's an art piece. It's an experimental piece that is about antagonism towards the GM and complete player agency. I'm giving you a name for your game idea, Trooper. Entitlement. Ooh. You know, Hawkeye, that might be good. It might be good. It might be too obvious for me if I called it that, but I think it would be very interesting, actually. Veterans getting more resources and attention than new players is a real good way to make sure you don't get a lot of new players. You can mask. No. I think I want to make. I've been thinking about this, Void Smoker. I want to make custom dice. Void Smoker, by the way, I sent you a message with a gift code for the planner. So maybe I could use it. And I think that there's a it'll have to be more than like a 3x5 because I actually have to create more complicated rules that sort of point out that the players, right, how the GM is constrained. I've got to I want to mirror some of Luke Crane's language in Burning Wheel that was pretty hostile to GMs and sort of have that in there. And when we talk about munchkins and power gamers, it's almost always in the context of combat D&Ders, right? Who want to just like get really, really powerful. And then, I've been looking at custom dice and finding ways I can get the dice that I want. I want to make 2 different sets. I think I just lost that train of thought for a second. Oh yes. So everybody thinks about power gamers as munchkins who want to like be powerful, kill. But the thing is, in my experience, there is also another form of power gamer that is another form of munchkin that is the rules light or no rules yes and player, which we called back in the day a god modder, right? They would walk in a LARP or in a text-based thing, and they'd be like, I walk into the room, everybody's character is in love with my character. My vampire is so sexy and wonderful, and you all love me, and you've fallen in love with me, and I have intimidated you. Like, they will just sort of walk into the room and tell everybody how they feel, and, you know, it was a thing. It was a thing. And it feels to me as if this is sort of where people are, where a lot of people are at the moment. And, you know, I think that this guy is going to walk there, come back, and sit at that trunk, and then I think I can just sneak up behind him and knock him in the head and knock him out. I think, because I don't think there's anybody else in here, so I think I'm good, actually. So that's great. Yeah, but I would like to point out, this is important in terms of history, that while very, very anti-GM sentiment is very popular at this moment with the... Excuse me? I knocked him unconscious, everybody. By the way, I was caught on camera. It was so rude. He's wearing the same disguise as I am. I'm going to just pick up this hammer for a moment, and then I'm going to drag his body somewhere else. we're gonna just put his body over there. Just in that moment. Just, oh, packing peanuts. Nice. That's lovely. Some nice... Huh. I wonder whose house this was. I bet they killed somebody and took their house. You know what I'm saying? Okay. We're gonna save again. And then I need to tell you this, finish this thought. These folks did not like me back in the day. I would clap back really fast. House of Dreams. So a theater of alienation stream. Yes, Pope. Pope, you understand me, right? Like I'm thinking about theater of alienation. I'm thinking about some 1960s, 70s avant-garde theater and things that you can do with it, right? In like a modern setting. Like you know what I'm talking about. Yes, Pope. I think I would need the best players for this, though. I need to pick people very specifically. But House of Dreams, if you clapped back, then you were not yes-anding, and that's not okay. So what I want to say was, even though this kind of anti-GM sentiment is quite popular in the indie narrative scene at the moment, I have not... this is not the only place I've seen it. This particular kind of GMing, like antagonism towards GMs, I have also seen in weirdly simulationist games, but remember, simulation games are no longer popular, so there's not that many of them, and not in a lot of them, but I have seen them in some simulationist games. I think a lot of the anti-GM sentiment comes from people who would unironically say that GM is God and you should argue against them. I'm just going to say, House of Dreams, that being a GM is a lot more work than being a player is, and players being so hostile. Let me put it this way. I think that maybe they should ponder the GM shortage that they keep complaining about when they don't want to do the job. And they are also pretty hostile people who do the job. If you pick Cord, he will kill his character in the first episode. Void. I love that. Void, by the way, did you get my code? I sent you the travel planner code. So I have seen it in some simulationist games. One which I don't think was ever published. Oh, here is somebody who GMs a lot. You know, yes, Void Smoker, it's in Discord. It's in Discord. I sent you a message in Discord with a giveaway key. For the travel planner and a question. It's in Discord. Yes. You should go look it up. But the game, this game was by somebody who was making this game that was going to be very sort of very crunchy, very simulationist, but very hostile to GMs. I don't think it was ever finished. That said, my best short term for being a GM is being a professional Force Service Dom for no money. Yeah. Yeah. But there was another game that I just heard about that the Ludo Narrative Dissidents podcast was talking about. And I was like, I know this game. I mean, I've never played it. It's one of those games that's infamous for being not good. You know, there's the list of like bad games, like the worst games ever. And of course, Fatal is on that list. Rahowa is on that list. And one of the other games on that list is The World of Cinnabar, which I didn't really know anything about. I just knew it was on the list. And they were talking about it in Ludo Narrative Dissidents. And there is a mechanic in that game. And this mechanic I thought was... I would never run this game. I don't run games that disrespect me. Like, I'm not going to run a game that hates who I am as a GM. I'm like, I don't need to be here. If you don't like me, why am I running your game? But I thought I would share this rule with you because I thought you would find it fascinating. Let's be fair, a lot of the anti-GM sentiment does stem from bad abusive GMs being out there giving a bad impression to people, sure, but some of those bad abusive GMs were also dealing with bad abusive players, right? Like, I'm God, don't argue with me is also usually in conversation with an old school rules lawyer munchkin. Like, there was that, do you know what I mean? Like, there are certainly abusive GMs, also abusive players, and we don't talk about that, actually. We never sort of frame players as being able to be abusive. Anyway, so in the World of Cinnabar, there is a rule. And the rule is, are you ready for this? This is amazing. the rule is, and I know I see what they're doing there. The rule is, what is that? Oh, hey, biometric scanner right over there. Okay, great. Oh, I don't want to. Why would I administer an overdose? I actually just want to talk to this person. I think I have to go through a biometric scanner. That's fine. I'm just gonna do that. What happened? I mean, I'm in. Okay, scan Rose's face.
The plot thickens.
Someone left in a hurry.
Sean Rose was not the Shadow client. That much is clear. Whoever commands the militia, they got out just in time. Look around, 47. We're getting closer.
Thank you. Hey, I feel so accomplished. So, here's the rule. And the thing is, I know you can guess what people are reacting to, but I don't want to play a game that assumes worst intent of everybody, you know? Anyway, so World of Cinnabar has a rule that says the GM must write down everything that will happen in the game. So if they're going to be, look at this. Somebody is doing what is this?
Some kind of network. Power players from all sectors.
Familiar faces, too.
Yeah.
Thomas Cross. Klaus Strandberg. Ether. And that's missing banker Eugene Cobb. Well, well.
There's a name. Providence.
What? No.
Yeah.
No, it can't be.
The hidden
But it
hand.
is.
Thought they were a myth.
A hypothesis, nothing more. The idea that a small cabal of kingmakers, controlling enough corporate and political leaders, could effectively run the world in secret.
Maybe not so hypothetical.
Keep looking, 47. We need full disclosure.
Oh, House, there's more. So, if they're going to go and fight goblins, right? The GM has to write down on paper how many goblins, what their hit points are, all their stats. That has to be written down. Anything that's going to happen has to be written down before the game starts, before that session. At the end of the session, and here's what the rule is: at the end of the session, the players can demand to see the GM's notes, and if there's any discrepancy between what happened in the game and what the GM's notes say, the players call the GM out and they get extra experience points. So they get extra experience points. So what this means is, like, if the encounter is for 4 goblins and the GM gives you 5 goblins, and you pull their notes and you see it said there were supposed to be 4 goblins, but there were 5 instead, you call the GM out, and the GM is basically punished by the players getting extra XP. So the GM cannot improvise anything or change anything from what was written down in their notes, or else the players get to call them out and get XP for it. I think the rise of gamer in time is all contributes to it, as some players think the GM is there to simply fulfill their wishes. Oh, Artie, absolutely, that's where my experimental game is. That's what it's coming from. What if the encounter is for 6 goblins and I only put out 4 because they got beat up too much by the last fight? I think they still get the extra XP. Because the thing is, this is because while when I was saying that this is like sort of big in, I should not be standing around here like this in this moment. While this is sort of big in the narrative indie scene, quite explicitly, right, in the moment, the reason why you're not seeing it in the simulationist scene is because there is no simulationist scene, and simulations games are not popular. But there was a there was this sort of sector of simulationists back in the early aughts, late 90s, basically around the same time that the Forge was founded, but a slightly different. That late 90s moment was a real splintering moment, really interesting. But there was this group of people for whom they're like, the GM should be, what if the players do something you haven't prepared for? Well, too bad, I guess. I can think of several players in my 20s who would love that role. Absolutely, right? The whole point seems to be regardless of what happens, the players win. Yeah. Of course, it's also about basically turning the GM into a computer, I think, in some ways, right? It's the idea that that is like the you probably aren't a good GM because you would have known they would do heavy sarcasm. So here's the thing, right? Robin Laws says in the Robin Laws of Good Game Mastering, which, by the way, a lot of the newer indie folks they have not read it, so they don't know. He says that crunchy bits actually favor the players. The more specific and detailed the rules are, the more it favors the players. The more vague and open-ended the rules are, the more it favors the GM. Because the more vague, missing, or not present the rules are, the more it relies on GM fiat, or GM rulings, right? But the more specific the rules are, the more it favors the players, because players can be like, but this is what the rules say. So there is, Howe says, I can hear folks in my 20s saying it keeps the GM from cheating. Absolutely. And so there was this sort of move in some of the simulationist spaces to try to create rules that where the simulation didn't need the GM. I mean, the GM had to be there to run it, but the GM had no authority or agency, right? You kind of take all that away from the GM because they don't like GMs, right? The stifling of creativity and improvisation. I don't know, House of Dreams, I don't know if 4E was. I never saw that. I've heard that 4E has really great GM advice, so I'd be surprised to hear that. But Burning Wheel absolutely was built on that. And so was World of Cinnabar. So like Burning Wheel, one of the biggest new style indie story games, indie narrativist games. That was like the Burning Wheel, Dogs in the Vineyard were the two big ones that put the Forge in the map. Ron Edwards came out with Sorcerer first, but that one was not as popular as Burning Wheel and Dogs in the Vineyard. Those two really put everything there. And Burning Wheel was based in a real antipathy towards GMs. If you don't have the very first edition, which I do, you may not know it, but it's right there. And when I say it's right there, I mean he says it in bold print and little call-outs. But around the same time, there were some simulations where like, we don't want the GM to be able to do anything other. Basically, the GM should basically read modules. Do you know what I mean? Like, what the module says is what you do, and that's it, right? And you don't get to do anything else. Yeah, because creativity and they don't want the creativity and improvisation. They want the GM to be a machine, right? That just they do not want the GM to have agency. They want the players to have agency, but they don't want the GM to have agency. And, 4E was more designed for being really easy to teach. The implementation and delivery of 4E was done poorly, but they gave it a solid. I've read some articles that 4E had so many rules to pull authority out of the GM's hands and into the player's hands via the various rule books. Each book defined edge cases of the rules. Interesting. I think there's this discussion makes me want to stop being a GM. Krellin, just don't. Here's the thing. You don't have to stop being a GM. You just don't. I mean, somebody asked me to be in a mouse guard game, and I was like, no, sorry, I can't, because I will not support anything that Luke Crane does, because I will not play a game designed by somebody who does not respect GMs. Right? I was like, I can't do that. So in any other system, I'll do it. But if you think that GMs are inherently bad, I'm not running your game. I'm not going to GM a game that does not like me and assumes bad faith and thinks that and this is also the reason why I think it happens in the indie game scene a little bit more is because the indie scene is kind of moralistic and is sort of driven by auteur theory, where like the designer is this great auteur. And one of the things about the auteur, the genius auteur, the genius game designer, the celebrity game designer, is that those types were like wanting to protect the players from the bad GM. So this like weird, very weird relationship is set up between the designer and the players that is like, we're here against the GM together. I was like, yeah, I don't need to be involved in this. I can just not run this game. I just won't run those games. I will not run games that do not respect me. And I will not GM players that do not respect me. That's just what it comes down to. And I understand, because I've read it on Twitter and in Discords, that any GM says that they want respect is a bad GM, an authoritarian, and a bad person. I kind of think that all people deserve respect, and the idea that a GM saying that you should respect me is considered bad is a person that I just, if you feel that way, that's good to know. I'm not going to play with you. That's all. The vocal side of the indie scene is very moralistic. It is. My anxiety is what makes me want to stop being a GM. I have a session tonight, so that anxiety is heightened. Oh, Artie, you'll be lovely. I'm sure your players are there for you. One true way is in RTPRs. It is awful. It's awful, but most players are not. I mean, I think a lot of players are not like that, and you just have to play with the people who match your style. You know what I mean? Like, that's all. That's it. You know, though, Artie, here's what I'm going to say. I am going to hope and assume that you have good players, and if you have good players, your players want you to succeed, and they want to play with you, and then it's okay.
Look how far it dates back. Hayamoto, Beldingford, Delvade. The Shadow Client has been tracking you for decades.
How is that possible?
It isn't. Every one of those missions were branded as unsolved or accidents. He must have been looking for a pattern, a certain MO, which would mean...
He knows me.
Well, at least this shortens the list.
Oh. Yeah, it's important to cultivate a table you have fun with. And I don't know which GMs appreciate that kind of hostile environment, but I'm sure there are people who do. Personally, the thing I just don't get, if you really dislike GMs that much, just play a GM-less game. But, you know what I'm saying?
Sodas? But that would mean... Providence has infiltrated ICA.
Yep.
And Eric Sodas is their operative.
Yep.
Bastard!
I
It
knew
all
that.
fits. He was the one who persuaded the rest of the ICA board to greenlight this operation. This changes everything. Get out, 47. We got what we came for.
What about the Shadow Client?
He is no longer our primary concern. ICA has been compromised. I always wondered if Providence was real, but I never actually... I will need to confer with the board, but mark my words, 47. This will have consequences.
Oh my goodness.
We're in the money.
Oh! We just got bits. I don't even know where they came from. I got the word that we're in the money, but I don't, what? Oh. Actually, that was the travel planner came in. Oh. I hope that was Void Smoker who got the travel planner. I hope so. That would make me happy. That's all. It would make me happy. Let me get my chat back up. My players are good and they've rightly called out. Part of session 0 is doing the vibe check, seeing that we all want to be at the same table. Absolutely. And like me personally, I'll come back to that for thought. It's about being able to only do one thing. Artie says, my players are good and they have rightfully called out some things I need to work on, although RSD from ADHD can make that tough. But that is a me problem, not a them problem. Yeah, and you can work through it, I get it. House of Dreams says, as much as yes and style can be exhausting, I feel like I've learned a lot from it. I also feel that no but is an excellent tool as well. Yes and, no and. Here's the thing, House. If somebody just wants me to be their GM so they can beat me up and disrespect me, I'll do that for a one shot. So I'm going to go and make this my experimental game. I mean, I'm not going to be personally invested. Do you know what I mean? Like, I'm not going to put my heart into it, because if I'm going to be sitting at a table of players who find it empowering to be mean to me, you know, I'll let them do it for a session. I'm just not going to do it for very long. You know what I mean? And they can find somebody else to do that long term. I also personally think that yes and is an improv tool, not an RPG tool. And I think it leads to not good games. At least games that, well, let me rephrase that, I'm sorry. I find it unenjoyable as a player and as a GM to have a game where anything I want happens and I have no constraints and I have no challenges. I do not enjoy that. If I just want to have whatever I want with no challenges and no constraints, I can just write a novel. I don't actually need to play with other people. But even if I were going to write a novel, I wouldn't have that happen. But there is a very, very strong sense of players should never fail in various circles. I was going to write something about it because I've been collecting articles about the idea that it is never fun to fail and people should not fail ever. And I think that's very much the current mindset from folks. And I think that those people should have games where they never fail and they get whatever they want. It is not going to be with me, except for my experimental game, which I'm going to run. I'm going to do it. It'll be a little short thing, and it'll be yes and. I actually think, personally, for me, only saying, how do I put this?
We're in the money.
If consent matters, right? If we value consent, consent means that you should be able to say no. And that should include the GM. If the GM can never say no, then nobody's respecting consent for the GM. We're basically telling the GM, you don't have consent, and we don't care about your consent. And that's not really what I'm about. I'm not really into that, personally. That's sort of like saying that a Dom never gets to use a safe word, and I'm not into it. But I know that there are people who are into it, and I hope they find those people, you know? Yes. Yeah, anyone says it doesn't matter is it? But see, the thing is, I think for you that reading Reddit is bad for you personally. Well, I will say I don't take it personally though. I use it as a way to like think about things. I don't, because it's not like my home. But the thing is, House of Dreams, most of the advice we're seeing, not just on Reddit, but also on Twitter, also on various progressive discords, explicitly say that GMs should not say no. Right? They say that consent matters, but GM should never say no. So there is this idea that consent matters for everybody but the GM. And that's sort of tied into the idea that the GM is basically the enemy because they have power. And if we hate hierarchy, right? We don't like power, we don't like hierarchy. So therefore the GM, who symbolizes hierarchy and power, is basically the bad guy. And we must punch up. Like there's a lot of like punching up is good and the GM is up. So we must punch up and it's okay to punch the GM. And that's not bad, right? This is the mindset. I mean, I was in a Discord that I left that said, a GM is fascist, and anybody who wants to be a GM is fascist. You should never trust anybody who GMs, because the only kind of people who want to be a GM are fascists. And any game that has a GM is inherently fascist and is a morally bad game. And I was like, oh, I need to leave this Discord. I was like, let me join this Discord. It's a very progressive, cool progressive Discord. I was like, oh my gosh, gotta go. So I left, because I was like, I don't need to be here. So people are like, yeah. If people are saying, if the people saying this aren't playing D&D, they're not even a large minority. They're not, because I think that this is a very small number of people, but I think it is a loud number of people. But it's a small number of people, right? And I think while there were bad D&D DMs, and I certainly have had them, most of them were not bad DMs. Sometimes they might have skills needed to learn, but they were trying to run a game that was fun for everybody. I think that some of this pushback about the evil bad DM, et cetera, is actually not about bad DMs, but about a mismatch of style. There are people who are like, oh, D&D is so bad because it's got this like antagonistic relationship between the players and the GM, and that's so hostile and it's like so terrible. But actually, having played a lot of D&D that I did not enjoy, because I didn't like the style and I didn't understand the style at the time. What I would say is, within all of my years playing D&D, including some bad games that I did not enjoy, I think I've only had one actually hostile, maybe two actually hostile DMs who they were actually hostile enough to screw people over, and then we just stopped playing with that person, right? Were they giving you really hard challenges and throwing traps everywhere? Yes, but that was also what the players enjoyed, right? They weren't actually out to get the players, right? And I think that there's a group of players, many of them now in the indie scene, because there is no simulation scene, right? Who just don't enjoy that. And so they read that as being hostile and toxic and terrible, when I actually think it wasn't. I think it was something that the people at the table all wanted. They were all in it. They wanted the challenge. They wanted to try to figure out what was going on with the gravity plates, and they wanted to be able to like, I beat the trap and I found the secret door. That's what they actually wanted. And that kind of style wasn't mean. It might not have been my preferred style, but having played with one, maybe two actually hostile D&D DMs back in the day, most of them were not like that. They didn't throw traps at you. They were not like, we would always make the joke, rocks fall, everybody dies is a bad GM. Like, the bad GM we're talking about would be like the rocks fall, everybody dies. Like, that's a bad GM, and we all would see that as a bad GM. I just think that there's a large number of people who don't like that style and therefore interpret that style as being hostile, negative, and bad, when I actually just think it just wasn't for them. Do you know what I'm saying? I don't think it was inherently bad. It just wasn't for them. That's all. That would be my take on that. Only then the players have the power, so does that mean it becomes okay to attack the players then?
Rose is gone.
It was me, wasn't it? They tracked me.
What?
I don't believe it. I took every precaution.
Brush your teeth, Artie.
Rose knew the risks. They all do. You did well, Olivia. I am proud of you. Now listen.
What?
The ICA knows about you. They kept you alive because they needed you, and now they don't.
Wait.
We won't talk again. Not until the storm is over.
I don't like it. This man, you know what he's capable of. You need to end this now.
What's going on?
I ran away as a boy. My friend and I.
Wait, what?
Away from that place.
Did we grow up together?
We came upon a small farming community. The people were dirt poor, but this woman, she took us in. We were awakened the next morning by the shots.
You're welcome,
A dozen
Boyd.
people lay face down in the snow. Our warden didn't like to leave witnesses. They shot the woman and her family last. They made sure that we watched the whole thing.
What?
This is your gift, the warden told us.
Thank you,
Your
Boyd.
gift and your curse. Touching lives only by ending them.
You know him.
Better than anyone.
What is happening right now? I think that's the end of the first season, by the way, everybody. Hey, did we do it? I don't know. We'll have to see. I don't want to be premature. Whew. Whew. Hey, we got a lot. Hey, mastery. Level 6. Ooh. We unlocked a whole bunch of stuff. Look at us. Okay, this is awesome. We have to have a conversation, you and I, everybody. Let me continue. Okay, look at us. We only got one rating. Why is that? Okay, we meet all of our objectives, but we were spotted. Oh, no, those are negatives. We didn't get any negatives. We didn't get any minuses. Think. Maybe? No. Some of these are minuses, some of these are bonuses. And I don't think we... Well, I mean, I suppose we can do better later. But we did really well, I think. So we eliminated all of our targets. We completed all of our missions. Like, I think we did well. Right? Yeah. Thank you, Void. Anyway, Void, I'm really excited for you to get the planner, and I left you a question. So, we have questions to talk about. Also, got like got a little bit of time, so I want to ask you all a question. We're gonna do a poll. So here's the thing: we're gonna exit to menu because I want to ask you all a question, and I have a vague answer in my mind. We'll see. So here's the thing about this game. Paranoia. Krillin says, Gygax's table is full of players that wanted there to be a sphere annihilation in that statue's mouth. And I think it's also important to remember that Tomb of Horrors, right, was a competitive convention game, right, where the challenge was to see how far you could get, right? Like you had played it, like it was a killer dungeon on purpose, and you would go to the convention with your most cheesed out characters, and you could see how, and then you would compare, you would like talk to other people and be like, we did, you know what I mean? Like that was the goal. And maybe, and I understand that other people may not like it, right? And may not find it fun in any way. Oh, hey, look, we have one more level. We have Hokkaido, and then we are, okay, so I thought we had one more mission, but we don't. We have Hokkaido. We have, okay, hey, now we know. We've got one more mission in the Hitman, and we'll do it. So we have completed 39 out of 43 in the first IC. This is the thing we have to talk about later. We've only done 12 out of 108 in Paris, 17, 6 in Marrakesh was, 12 in Bangkok, 13. So we're like, I think some of these challenges you can only do if you do them multiple times. But, so next week, are we still good? I guess we are. So next week we're going to go and do Hokkaido. Apparently, that's what we're going to do. I guess. Yes. I do have a question that I don't have the answer to, and that question is, I'm going to come here. I ordered Claire Obscura Expedition 33, but it's not here yet because I'm waiting for it to arrive. And that I got that for the PS5. So maybe when we finish Hitman, we can do that. I also have the new Silent Hill 2, which I love. We can maybe do that for the PS5. Those are all things that I got. We can think about it. I think the big question I have is, do we want to hang out together and do try to get more achievements in Hitman? I feel like we finish Hokkaido, then we find out what happens. That's what I think, right? That's what I think. Okay, so let's chat a little bit about some stuff before we go. I think we can do that. So I need to make this experimental game. I think I need to do it because I want to work through this weird thing that's going on. Anyway, I just think what ends up happening is, because when I was younger, I was like, oh, D&D sucks, but D&D doesn't suck. It just wasn't doing what I wanted it to do. And it wasn't going to do what I wanted it to do. And I needed to either stop playing D&D or play D&D, right? You cannot play D&D and you're not playing D&D. Like, if you're going to play D&D, you need to play D&D. And D&D is more than just one thing, but it is not, there's some things that it isn't. And I was wanting to play a game that it wasn't. And that's why I wasn't happy. But that doesn't mean that D&D is bad. It just means that I was wanting to play a game that it wasn't. And that was on me, right? So I think some of these sorts of anti-GM sentiments is based on wanting a different experience and not realizing that it's just a different experience, not a moral thing. It's like, I really enjoy cooperative games. I really enjoy cooperative games. I also enjoy competitive games as long as the people I'm playing with don't have their ego involved in it. Like, I want them to play hard, but I don't want them to think that they're a better human being because they beat somebody in a game. That's not fun for me. But I love a good competitive game if everybody's like competing together, if that makes any sense, like playing fair. But there's some people who hate competition, and then they might say competitive games are bad. like they're morally bad and anybody who wants to be in a competitive game is a bad person. Like, I don't think we need to do that. If it's not for you, it's not for you. Do you know what I'm saying? Do you know what I'm saying? That's all. And yeah, and I will also note that because when I play competitive games, I do not play. I'm not going to do a lot of smack talk, basically, because for me, um, I really like to play competitive games quasi collaboratively in the sense that if I'm playing a competitive game, it's because I want to learn something about it. I want to see how I can get better. I want to figure out how it works. And I really love playing competitive games with people who will talk to me about it afterwards. And we can strategize and figure like, oh, like what went well? Let's share information. Like what I noticed is this game does this. What do you think? And like, so that we can get better at it. I love that. I don't like competitive games that much, but I recognize that's a preference, not a moral failing on others' parts. Yeah. And I really like a competitive game when everybody's a good sport, right? If everybody's a good sport, I can have a great time. And I actually really enjoy losing in a competitive game if I've learned something. Like I don't care if I win or lose. I would rather lose a competitive game and have learned something than win because the person I was playing with had never had a chance. That doesn't feel good to me. I don't like that. No smack talk. Let's hear what Lindy has to say about that. Like I will smack talk with Lindy because Lindy uh understands that I'm just poking fun and I don't mean it, and you know I don't get too heavy. And I can smack talk with Lindy because Lindy is actually pretty fun to smack talk with. But like there are people who are competitive who would not enjoy playing with me, even though I'm a good competitive player. No, that let me just rephrase this. I like to have good skill, and I like to play well, and so I think I'm good to play with. But if part of the joy of a competitive game for you is massive smack talk, um, then I'm not gonna be a good person to play a competitive game with. Do you know what I mean? Like if what you want is that like adrenaline charge, I tend to defuse that adrenaline charge, and so I may not be the best person to play a competitive game with if that's what you want. Uh, the good Halo 2 nights, yeah. It's it's like I really like soccer. I really enjoy playing soccer, and I don't want to play football. Um, and when I play soccer, I love to see the skill involved. Like I love um watching people who are really good at what they do, and I like getting better at what I do. And I like, yeah, that's what I like. So, uh, a competitive game that allows us to challenge each other in good ways, I really enjoy. But some people like competitive games also for other reasons. And I'm not the best person for them to play with because I'm not going to give them the other things because it's just kind of like not my temperament so much. Um, and I tend to nope out once I start feeling like this is getting too personal. So I would not be good for people who like that style of competitive game to play with, but I would be good for people who like this other style of competitive game to play with. Uh, and I also, but it's not a moral failing one way or the other. And my style's not better than the other style, and vice versa, right? It's just different. That's all. Um, I like to explore a competitive game together. And I've got some good board game players who will explore competitive games with me where we explore it together like, well, how does this competitive game work? What are the stakes of competition? What are good strategies? And then, I really love when afterwards we can talk about like, oh, that was a very good strategy. Well, that didn't seem to work. How do we do this better? Like I like to get better. If it's going to be something like that. Actually, I also like to get better if I'm playing cooperative. It's similar. Actually, I sort of treat my competitive games like cooperative games. I guess. I guess. Anyhow, um, yeah, I just think Lord oh, that's fun. Lords of Waterdeep is fun. Yeah. I love to talk about it. And there are games that are competitive that I'm very good at that I don't enjoy. not because the players that I'd be playing with, but because I don't feel like I'm learning anything or getting better. Like they're a little bit too simple for my taste, so there's nothing I can like grab onto. If it's just me like, and I'm smacking you down, then I just don't feel as excited about it. Because I don't feel like I'm getting much out of that experience. You know what I'm saying? If you know what I mean. Yeah. And look, I will also say that I do enjoy good mind games. Like I do enjoy a good hidden traitor thing, as long as everybody's cooperative and it's in good fun, then I enjoy that. But again, different styles, and I think that there's something that I wish we could recognize, that there are different styles of competitive play, different styles of cooperative play. Right, all these things have different, these are all in spectrum, they're different styles, and some might be more suited to your taste and others less suited to your taste. And you know, that's all good. I don't think I like winning competitively. I don't like how I have to play to win. I don't like the feeling of winning. I don't get any sort of rush from it. I see you, Krellin. Um, I think I'm yes-anding you, Krellin. And then I'm going to say something about paranoia. I think I'm yes-anding you, but I'm not certain. I love a competitive game. I wonder if Hawkeye would feel the same way. I don't know. I love a competitive game where it's a clean game and everybody is playing fairly. Right? I don't want to have to do something I feel uncomfortable with. So, you know that TV show Survivor, which I've never really watched more than one episode. I've seen little bits and pet pieces. Um, I thought when I first heard about it that it might be fun, right? That everybody goes to this island and you do like, I don't know, like obstacle courses or something, and you got to make fish, you know, cool stuff, right? Team versus team, that seems cool. It seemed like it would be kind of fun. And then I watched it and it was like, oh, there are people here who are not playing this game. They're just lying and being mean to people and manipulating people. And they're kind of like, they're being mean. And I was like, oh, I don't like that. And I thought to myself, if I went on Survivor, I bet I'd do really good at the parts where you're not being mean to each other, right? But I think that I might be voted out because I wouldn't lie to people in those ways. Hawkeye says, I love being competitive as long as it's not at the expense of someone else's fun. Yeah, that's it for me. If winning or losing gets personal, that's no longer fun. That, and that's, Hawkeye, that's where I'm at. And it's funny because I was thinking about reality games are just about people being awful to each other, says Skexy. Some of them aren't. Many of them are. It's one of the reasons why I really liked Face Off, the special effects makeup reality show, because first off, they gave them time, because you can't, like, clay has to dry overnight. You can't force them to do that in like 15 minutes because the clay will not dry. And like the foam latex has to dry overnight. So like they weren't compressed in like, they couldn't compress them too short. They couldn't say make a haute couture gown out of garbage cans in like 4 hours, right? So they had more time, which was good. And I would notice that and then sometimes things would happen that were sometimes outside of people's control, and I would see people in Face Off helping each other. Like they were competitors, I guess, but they'd be like, oh no, you need help with this thing, I'll help you out. And I really appreciated that, even though they were competing, I guess, they still helped each other. And I really liked that a lot. I don't like other people losing, and I really don't like being the reason they lost. Yeah. Reality show the most misnamed genre of all time. They are. Also in Face Off, folks helped each other. They helped each other all the time. Baron said, I had almost this exact discussion with my oldest the other night. I like competition shows where skill is the highlight and not alliances. Yeah. It's but why I like parts of RuPaul's Drag Race, but not the petty alliance. Absolutely. And Face Off was great. Also great, but you know what? I think I have what it is. I can tell you, I think, to sort of take all the things you're saying together and sort of put them together. I like when you're competing against yourself next to other people. If that makes any sense. Does that make any sense? Does that make sense? Right? Like, everybody has the best that you can do, right? And I'm not trying to take you down. I'm trying to do the best that I can do. And I do love your board games, Pope. I do. And even if it means that you and I are in direct competition with each other, right? Like I'm trying to beat you and you're trying to beat me. I like it if what we're really doing is trying to be the best that we can be, and then we see what happens, right? Forge and Fire was fun, especially when they would actually help each other and give each other advice, even though they were competing, because the quality of the blade was the most important thing to the. Yes, see, Hawkeye, that's the kind of thing I like. Like I want us to, yes. I'm also not a great fan of folks who have sad stories being told to judges right before the judges do. Oh, yeah, I don't like that either. Barantor. Krell says, your board games still have a fair amount of person against person competition to them. Yeah, and I think for me, Krellin, I have to be able to engage in that person-to-person competition in a way that feels like it's still about, oh, how do I put this? Okay, I'm very simulationist when it comes to competition. I think that's the best way I can put it. That I want us both to do the best that we can do, play our games, and then we see what happens, as opposed to I want to destroy you. Do you know what I'm saying? A lot of them have that's what I did think, so now you can't do that thing. Yeah, I see that. And I want us both to be able to play, right? I want us both to be able to play and have fun, and then we see what happens. And it reminds me of when I was playing competitive Game of Thrones. And the Game of Thrones community was a pretty friendly card game community. Even like competitive Thrones, people are very friendly and will give you advice. They're pretty good. But every once in a while, somebody who's from the Magic community would come in and start playing Thrones, and they did not play the same way the rest of us did, in ways that wasn't the funnest for me. So, for example, in the Game of Thrones card game, there are triggers that must be triggered, right? They're not optional. They must happen. It's part of the way it happens. Like there's certain things that you have to do it. And some of these things are positive things, right? So like, for example, if I attack you and you do not defend, I get a power. That's one of the ways to get power. And it is an automatic thing. You get that power automatically. It's a trigger, automatic trigger. An unopposed challenge when you get a power. Sometimes if there's a lot going on, a person who made that unopposed challenge might forget to take that power, but it isn't optional. And I knew people who, like if I'm playing against Krellin and Krellin does an unopposed challenge against me and Krellin forgets to take the power, I'm going to say, oh, hey, Krellin, you forgot to take the power. Right? And then I would make sure that Krellin got the power that Krellin should have because Krellin had that unopposed challenge. But there were people came from Magic for the most part, and who really wanted to win, right? Who would not tell you that you forgot the power. And they would often pressure you to move faster than you needed to. They would do things to make it so that you couldn't play your best game so that they could win. And I didn't really enjoy playing with them because I want to play my best game and I want you to play your best game, and then we see what happens. And if you win, that's cool. And if I win, that's fine too. As long as for me, if we both play our best games, like I wouldn't feel good winning a game 15-13. Like I've got 15 power and you've got 13 power, but really you should have had 17, but you forgot your trigger and I didn't say anything. And so I really should not have won. If I know that I shouldn't have won, if we were all playing by the rules, but I just kind of didn't let you know what the rules were so that I could win, I just wouldn't feel good about it. But I know some people are like, well, that's your fault because you didn't pay attention, or haha, I got you. And it's just not my, I don't enjoy that. I know that some people do, right? Some people do enjoy it. And I think that when you have two players who enjoy that playing against each other, I think they'll have a great time. But it's not really what I enjoy. That's not what the game is, right? Like I guess what it is I don't want to win. I want to play the game. I want to play it well with somebody else who's also playing it well. And then whatever happens at the end is whatever happens. Do you know what I'm saying? Like for me, the winning or losing is not the point. It's not the end. It's the journey. And I feel that way quite a lot. And it also, is why I'm mostly a simulationist GM. And it's, because it's the journey for me, not the end point. And it's, I mean, and while I can do gamist and narrativism, those often endpoint is a bit more important for those games, even though sometimes they say that that's not the case, but it often is, right? It's the reason why, you know, a narrativist game will say, people can't die to something stupid in the very first scene because we have to get to the end. Or we can't, the reason why we're not going to have people roll for to investigate to get clues is if you don't get the clues, you don't get to the end, right? So like both of them have these sort of trajectories towards the end point being important. Whereas I was told as youngin that you can't win or lose an RPG, right? It's about the fun you have along the way. It was in the red box, and I have really internalized that, and that's very much the way that I play. But I understand that that is very frustrating for people who like different styles of play. I do not think that my style is better. It is why I've also learned how to GM in other styles, and I certainly have learned how to play in other styles. If somebody asks me to be in a one of these other style games, I can do it. But for me, I don't. Yeah, it's just not about the end. It's about the journey for me. That's all. And I want to explore. That's it. And if I can explore, I'm going to feel pretty good. If I can't explore, I'll be a little sad. But that's what I like. And as long as I can play the game in a way where I think we're both having fun, I'm going to be okay, one way or the other. The only time I get disappointed is if I think I didn't do my best. Right? Like if I think that I could have done better and I was making silly errors that I should not have made, then I'll be like, dang it. But that's not about, I would feel that way even if I won, actually, right? You know? Yeah. Okay. So since we have like, I'm going to go really soon, but I did want to tell you, paranoia, hope. I love first edition paranoia, but I'm, you know, listening to Ludo Narrative Dissidents, and James Wallace actually designed some of the later editions. And when I hear them talk about paranoia, I'm reminded of all the paranoia players who were not my crew. I don't tend to enjoy the way that many people do paranoia, right? For many people, paranoia is a comedy game. It's a gonzo comedy game where you just like, it's the big yuck yucks and it's goofy and you run around, and I just never ran it as a comedy. I ran it as darkly absurdist in that kind of catch-22 sort of way. But I never really ran it as like a comedy. And when people sort of like ran it that way, it was less, that was not my vibe. Was there humor in it? Sure. And also this also has to do with players killing each other. I ran the computer pretty big brothery, and killing other troubleshooters is going to get you in trouble if you get caught or you can't justify it. So that kind of idea that somebody's like, all the troubleshooters meet up, I shoot you in the head, that was just not going to happen in my games. For me, the goal is to survive the alpha complex as a team. Yeah, that's a bit more right where I'm at, right? It's to survive the alpha complex as a team. Sometimes you have your own goals that might be at odds with other people, but it's, for me, I would run it as like, don't get caught, right? That's like one of the main things is don't get caught and survive the absurdity. And what that means is the kind of players that would shoot each other in the head in the very first scene, ha ha ha, let's have a new clone. That is not the game that I was running. Because if you're in the briefing room and the computer is watching you and you just start shooting people, the computer does not want you destroying computer resources, which would be other troubleshooters. You just can't. There are consequences. So if you like, and did my players kill each other? They did. But not as often as in the comedy games. Like when people are running Paranoia Super Comedy, people are just dying left and right all the time. And that was not happening People certainly died, but it was usually in very subtle and kind of like clever. It was like a bit of a puzzle. There was a bit of a puzzle. Like, how do you get away with stuff, right? That was the puzzle. That was the challenge, is how to get away with stuff. And so people were like, I tried to cultivate a good in-character sense of paranoia. And it was really fun because you had to like, betrayal should elevate the story, not happen in spite of the story. It should at least be grounded in your character, right? Because it's for me, they like, I just shoot you. Feels very much like that player who's like in D&D, who's like, okay, you walk into the tavern. In the corner, there's a man with a hood and a treasure map. I shoot him. Like, what? And then I burn down the tavern. What? Right? There's that kind of like, I don't know why you're doing that. That makes no sense. What person does that, right? Like there's a certain kind of like a woo, right? And that is a style of play. And there are people who play RPGs for that. They just want to play id. You know what I mean? They just want to they want to have no consequences for their actions because they feel like they have too many consequences in their real life. They want to be able to just do whatever they want to do with no consequences and not lose, right? And because they have like, because whatever is happening in the rest of their life is, this is their one space for that. And I don't think there's anything wrong with that style of play. I just don't tend to enjoy it. That's not my fantasy. And I don't tend to enjoy it. If I know that's going to be the game, I will do that for a one shot and I'll make a character that I'm not going to be personally invested in because that's not what those games are about. But I need to know in advance. I need to know in advance that this is what we're doing. And I'm not going to do that for more than 2 sessions because it's not where my pleasure comes from. But I know people for whom that's really important for them. If they really want to blow off steam after a really hard day, like they just want to go and like shoot Nazis or burn down villages, whatever they want to do. I don't know what they're going to do. They're going to do stuff. Kill kobolds without thinking about it. And I don't think there's anything wrong with that. The problem just becomes when I show up in a game full of people who just want to shoot kobolds and I want to talk about like my character's inner world and they do not care. And that was that. The problem there is me, right? I'm playing the wrong game or whatever the thing might be. So I think that for me, the problem isn't one true wayism. The problem is that we're not talking to each other enough about what it is we want, right? I think that if we could be more self-aware about what it is that we like, what it is that we can do, if we were more open to playing in styles that were not the ones we know we like, we might be able to find out we like more than one style. And being able to communicate what it is we're doing. And I think GMs are a little bit better than this at this than players are, because GMs have to do a lot more deliberate, intentional thinking about what's happening, whereas players sometimes don't. But a player who's played a lot of different games will often develop this skill as well. But to be able to say, as a player, this is what I like. These are the things I don't have experience in, so I don't know if I like them. These are the things that I don't like. This is what I like to do in a game. That's really important. Being able to articulate what it is you like, that you don't like, the things that you don't know you like, the things you don't know you don't like. Being able to recognize what other people are doing and figuring out how to play with them. Those are really important player skills, and a lot of them have not been cultivated enough, and that's not because the players are bad, it's because we don't talk enough about being a player, and we don't talk enough about what happens in a game. And I think if we could help players and GMs know thyself better, then I feel like we'd be more likely to be able to find the people that we jive with better at the table, and then we would all have better gaming experiences. That's what it is, right? This is my type of experience with this sort of game. This is what I usually expect in this type of game. Yeah, exactly, right? Or hey, Baron Tor, would also be really good, just to yes and you for a moment. Even something like, hey, as a player, I don't like to have the spotlight. You know what I mean? Like I don't really like making decisions or being in the spotlight. I just kind of want to be here with my friends and I'm going to go along with things, but like, I don't need you to, as a GM, to give me a lot of spotlight time. I'd rather you didn't, right? Like, if somebody knew themselves well enough to be able to say, hey, GM, I kind of don't want spotlight time. And if I do, I'll let you know. But generally speaking, I just kind of want to be here and kind of chill and hang out. Um, cool, right? You know what I mean? Like, I feel like that would, that's great. Awesome, right? Or if somebody says, hey, um, I've had a player say just about that to me in a game, and that's awesome. You know what I mean? Because then if you know that about the player, then you don't sit there worrying like, oh, did they not like that one plot hook? Should I give them a different one? Like we all know now, like, oh, great, right? You know, that's and then just check in with them, make sure it's cool. Because some players really want that, and some players are like, hey, um, she just wanted to play with friends, not be the lead, right? And that's super cool, and I love it when somebody can say that, or something along the lines of, hey, um, I right now really want to play a game where uh, we beat up bad guys and there are no consequences. And then I can decide as a GM, can I provide that game or should somebody else provide that game? Like, I just think kind of knowing where we're at. And then also, this is really important. Sorry, this I think is really important. I think it's also important to know that we are not fixed beings, that we can change. And I say this because of that idea. Well, that's just what my character would do. You walk into a village. I shoot the mayor in the head. What? Well, that's just what my character would do. Okay, so first off, two things. One, don't make a character who what they would do is ruin the game for everybody. Don't make that character. This, by the way, is why I, as a GM, think it's important to be able to say no. I think that it is my job as a GM to say no to disruptive character concepts. If there's a character concept that will ruin the fun for everybody else at the table, it is my job to say no. That's what I believe. That if somebody's like, I want to play a character, like I had somebody actually once say to me, I want to play a character who's a serial killer who's going to kill all the other player characters. Like, nope, you cannot play that character. Sorry, that's not the game we're playing. You don't get to play a character whose whole mission is to murder all the other player characters when nobody else signed up for that. I say no. And I understand that makes me a bad GM. Because GMs are not supposed to say no. But I said no. Because I think that my job, for me, is to ensure that everybody has fun at the table. And sometimes that means saying no. But anyway, don't make a character concept whose concept is basically to ruin everybody else's fun. Just don't do that. But the other thing is, I think that many people in real life can do more than one thing. There's more than one thing that a person would be able to do. That's what my character would do. Okay, well, then what the villagers would do is string you up and hang you for the blatant murder of the mayor. Huh? Well, that's not fair. Well, that's what they would do, right? And so for me, I also think that with some exceptions, most people can think of more than one thing that they would do in a situation, right? I don't think that people are so narrow that there is only one thing that they would do. And sometimes they don't know what they'll do. They can think they'll know what they'll do, but when they actually get there, they might do something different. I think that we as human beings are changeable and flexible, beautiful, and I think that we can do more than one thing, which means I think our characters, we should be aware of the idea that our characters might be able to do more than one thing too. And if we have a choice between two things, and one of them will make the game funner for everyone, and one of them will make the game less fun for everyone, maybe we could just pick the one that'll make the game more fun for everybody. It's just like a possibility, you know. But to go from the meta, that also means like, and one of the reasons why I've spent so much time playing indie narrative games is because I was like, well, I want to see how I will like this experience. And there are indie narrative games that I love. I think Good Society is brilliant. And I just filled out a survey for them about it. And I talked about all the ways in which I think it's brilliant, including actually that even though people think of that as being a very narrativist game, which in many ways it is, it actually what's really fascinating about it, and I was just realizing this as I was filling out the survey, is that because it's broke up in phases, some of those phases are very much not about narrativism, but they're about character exploration, which is what I am into. And so I get to have my character exploration in the monologue token, in the epistolary phase. There are these moments where it just really dives into it in a way that is not necessarily even narrativist at all. And then there are ways that are then there's these other moments that are very narrativist. And I find the game brilliant. It lets multiple different styles enjoy themselves in different ways without detracting from anybody else. And it's brilliant. I love it. It's the best. And there's some indie games I was like, oh, I don't like this. But it was important for me to dive into those things to see how I could grow and be different. And it's one of the reasons why I really want to run some AD&D, because I have not played AD&D in like 40 years, 35 years. And I have learned so much about RPGs in that time period since I first started in 84, 41 years ago. I've learned a lot. And I have to say I have to thank the Forge for their big theory to help me really think about and use it, I suppose, for that, to help me really think about these things. And I think that if I ran AD&D, I would have much more fun with it now that I have a better understanding of that style of play than I did in the 80s. I think that I could GM a much more interesting version of AD&D than I did back then. I mean, I don't think I was a bad DM. One of the reasons why I was a forever DM because people enjoyed my GMing, but I didn't enjoy my GMing. I GM'd for them, but I wasn't enjoying myself because I was wanting something different out of the experience than what they wanted. So I gave them what they wanted, and I wasn't necessarily having fun. They were, but I wasn't necessarily. But I think I could have fun GMing AD&D and create something that would do both things, actually. Would you run full on AD&D or no? Actually, Baron Tor, I want to run full on AD&D. I want to run full on AD&D, also as an experiment, because a lot of the clones are not actually doing what AD&D did. A lot of the clones are really indie narrative games in their own way, right? Like they came from the same time period. Like OSR and the indie stuff, they're just like kissing cousins. And even though they have that big war because Vanger Satanis, all that, there was like all that conflict between them, which doesn't really make any sense since they were all indie developers, all trying to come up with this way of doing something that was a bit more rules light. Like they're very simpatico. So that does mean that I do also want to run some OSR stuff as well, but like some of the like Shadow Dark, maybe Torchbearer. Like there's some indie OSR games that I want to run because I think they're really interesting. Doing kind of new and interesting things, and I want to like dive into that a bit. But I actually want to run full on AD&D. I think Castle Crusades is the only one that tries to emulate rather than reinterpret. Yeah, I think so too. Yeah, I think I'd like Shadow Dark as well, so I do want to run it. I also want to run 13th Age, actually. That's another one that I really want to run. There are a bunch of things that I need to run some fantasy. I've not run some fantasy in a while. I want to do that. And I want to run some more Daggerheart. But I really do want to run some full-on AD&D 1E because of the constraints. Because we've gone so far outside of having constraints at all, and that not being fun for people anymore, I want to go back to a game that does have constraints, because I think that if we embrace them, we might have a different relationship to them, right? In the sense that, no, not everyone can be psionic in AD1E. It's actually quite rare. And also not everyone can be a paladin. You have to have certain stats. If you don't have those stats, you can't qualify. Like, there are different ways of thinking. I think that coming at AD&D from a not 13, 12-year-old mindset, I think something really awesome. I could do something very interesting, but I'd have to have players who want to embrace exploring the constraints and what that looks like. And there are these things that we just don't do anymore in our current game space that I really want to re-experience. I think there are some OSR games doing those restrictions, but also in their own versions of things too that aren't AD&D. Yeah, because most of the OSR games that I know, with the exception of some of the earlier ones, they like when I hear people talking about OSR, they never talk about AD&D. There's gonna be one or two very early stuff, but almost all of them are Moldvay, BX, not even after BX. It's almost always really, really, really just BX. That's really like the focus for most people. And BX wasn't even like the full system. Like B is only levels 1 through 3. X gets you up to like 10 or 12 maybe. But there's a real sort of like they were very interested in basic D&D, BX, maybe OD&D, but mostly basic D&D, BX, red and blue. And AD&D and basic D&D were released at the same time. You know what I mean? Yeah. Most are doing BX and then adding the AD&D stuff on top. Yeah. I have a Daggerheart character I want to try out. I'm pretty sure almost all countries will ever get to engage in. It will be with a GM though. Yeah. So, and the thing is, actually, I would love to explore some of the stuff that happens after B and X in the basic system, because I love the stuff they do with becoming like having a fief and all that. But because AD&D is so slept on, I really would like to explore that some, including the lethality of AD&D, but also the ways in which that lethality it's not about lethality for lethality's sake. Oh, I do. I have them. I have the AD&D books. I have them. I do. So I can absolutely run it. But what I'm interested in is not the lethality of it. I mean, the lethality is part of it, but that's not the end point. What I think is interesting, and I think this is super fascinating, and I really want to play it and see it how it plays out, is that when your character dies, you come in not with a character that's the same level as everybody else. You start with a level 1 character. There are rules if people are very high level and you've already played a lot, of like, basically you'll be like 1d4 levels below the main party, but you want to start at 1 if they're very high level. And the reason why I want to go back to that is because AD&D did not assume that all the characters were always the same level all the time, right? Now, if you were, and also the experience you got was scaled within the range rule, right? The new character joins, exactly. And the way that it works, because it was important for them for you to go through the process, right? They were like, we want you to go from 1 up. We don't want you to just start at 5. We want you to actually get through the character from 1 through 5. That's a different experience. And the way that XP scales, which doesn't work with Milestone anymore, right? Is that if a level 1 character joins a party of level 4 characters, that level 1 character is going to level up faster until they catch up. So you will not be level 1 as long as they are level 4. You're level 1, they're level 4. You're gonna be level 2, they're level 4. They might have level 5, and then you're 3, and then like you're going to catch up with each other. And that experience, I think, would be really interesting to watch. I think that you could have some really cool role play with that happening. And of course, people lose levels, right? So the relationship to levels would be different in this context, and I think that would be really interesting to watch as a GM, right, and as a player, and to see. To see that dynamic play out, which is something we just don't really see much anymore. Level loss was a big deal, right? And that includes, like, there's level drain if you do a wish as a high level, like some of the highest and most powerful magic user spells cause level drain, right? Experience drain. And so Whites did as well. So I think it would be interesting to play with that, which again is not really about lethality. It's about experiencing your character in this sort of slightly different fluid way, which I think would be really cool. And now, of course, maybe nobody will ever die and then we'll be fine. But if people do die, you don't make it happen. Then you see how those characters change. And also, Baronto says, I had that with my West Marches OSE game, but that was using BX with a bunch of stuff added on to make it like halfway between BX and AD&D. I see that. Yeah, I see that. And then also, yeah, but I just did a test last night to see if I can make it so that a player can use Dungeon Scroll with Roll20, because I would also want there to be map making, right? Because I want to bring back some of these old school things that people don't tend to do as much in VT because we have VTTs and like, well, the GM gives you the map, right? But part of what was going on with old school D&D was that the GM would describe the dungeon and you would map it, right? So I really want to bring back some of these elements that we don't do much anymore, and just see its vibe. Yeah, right, mapper. But also I want to bring back paying attention to encumbrance and rations so that rangers have something to do, and that you have to make choices about how much food do you bring and how much treasure do you haul, right? Like, I think that they're kind of like interesting character spaces and motivations to explore, and hirelings, all that stuff that we just kind of don't do much anymore, which is fine. Like, I'm not mad about it, but I think it might be fun. Might be fun to do it, and maybe it's just for one summer. We just do a good 12 episode session and see if people want to do it for another, like, because remember I was talking about how I want to do a summer game, a game every summer, a full 12 sessions every summer. I think next summer I want to do AD&D first edition. I think so. I'm gonna start gearing up towards it, but and maybe we only do it for one summer and it's just a novella. But maybe we do another. Maybe we do it a couple summers in a row. I don't know. I can't say yet. Well, we can't. You never. I mean, I never make those plans. I always say what the players want to what the players want to do. But I think it might be really interesting to explore those things now. Yeah. Bold of you to assume that the group will even have a ranger. Hey, you never know. We don't know. Yep, that time when my players hired hirelings to drop rocks on a monster they lured out of a tomb so they could get their translation. Oh, that's so cool. Remember when a party didn't have a bag of holding? I do remember that. And I go want to see what happens. And I think that for me, I think the best players will be one who are excited to see what happens, to play to find out what happens, to explore what this looks like. And of course, I am not going to be a killer GM who just rocks fall over dies. That's no fun. I won't be Monty Hall either, but I'll play it fair, and we'll all play it fair, and we'll see how it goes. And what kind of RP can we get out of that? Like, what will that experience be like? And I think that could be really fun. Yeah. Rangers need 2 14s, 2 13s in a particular order. 3d6 straight down gets you that very, very rarely. Yep. Yeah. And also to see if a character story is short or long, or how you add to that story. Also, by the way, I always feel that somebody's watching me, and I have no privacy. Whoa, I always feel that somebody's watching me. Tell me, is it just a dream? Thank you for that follow, Alex's Key. Alex's Key? Alex's Key. Alex Sky. Alex Sky. Alex's Key. Alex Sky. Yeah, and I think I was looking in the DMG, and they do have a option for 3d6, but place where you want. They have a couple different options. I'm going to go and look to see what kind of attribute generation options I want to go with. I'll probably pick one of the nicer ones so that people might have a little bit more longevity, but still we're going to roll for your HP and all that business. We'll see how it goes. And I think it might be interesting. It also might be interesting to stream a game where there's a little bit more character turnover. Just to see what, like, because basically there are these experiences that were there that everyone says now are bad, but they weren't playing them, right? Or they never liked them in the first place. And I think it might be really interesting, and people have never seen them. Maybe people have never seen these experiences. And I think I want to run a game where some of these things are happening. Not mean, collaborative and kind. We're in it together, but I think it might be interesting to have it be out there. So I think that's what I want to do next summer. AD&D, 12 sessions. Yeah. I went with 3d6 in order. 1 reroll can swap 2 stats. I think what we normally did was 3d6, place them anywhere you want. The DMG has a couple different options. I'm going to just double check them. So I know that you can do, some people will do 4d6 down the line. I mean, I think I would either go 4d6, drop the lowest, down the line, no reordering, or 3d6 with reordering. Maybe I'll just leave it up to the players what they want to do. I'll give them options and they can pick what they want. But we'll do it all on camera. We'll do this session. We'll do that part of the session, the character creation, all that together. And yeah, I think it might be really interesting. And yeah, so I'm excited about it. I'm going to put it out there. I'm going to run 12 sessions of AD&D 1E next summer. I'm going to start putting it in my mind to plan it. That's it. But it is time. We have our 3-hour stream. It's time. I'm going to go. I want to thank you all for being here. Let me tell you what's what and what's next. I've got things that are happening, so I want to tell you. Next week will be Disco Elysium on Thursday at 6 p.m. Eastern. We're getting towards endgame. We probably only have 1 or 2 sessions left. Next Friday at 7 p.m. Eastern will be the premiere of Through the Valley of the Dead, or through the new title, Simon's Martian Cowboy game. And then next Saturday, we'll be here for Hitman, where we're going to play Hokkaido, the last mission, I guess. And I am going to be in I'm going to be setting up the calendar because I've got games this month. July will also see the start of Castle Falkenstein on Praxis channel, for which I have a Fez, and my new red tassels come in. And there's another game that we haven't decided the dates on. That's going to be like a 4 to 6 shot. That'll be happening as well on Other Docs channel. I don't know if that'll happen in July, but probably, maybe, we'll see. Once I get all the dates, you'll see it. I'll let you know. It'll be really good. Drafter says, thanks, Trooper. Always feel like I learned something for your video game streams. Thank you. I mean, look, this is what we're here for, right? I want to put this out there. I think I want to do another fundraiser. We're going to do something for my streamiversary in November, but I wonder if I can do a fundraiser for my birthday. I don't know if I can, but I think I want to do a fundraiser for my birthday. I'm going to just put it out there in the world that if I can, I will, but I've got to think about it. Can't say just yet, but I hope, after this, I'm going to go and I hope that my carpet is now finally dry, and so I can start putting things away, and I hope that I can get everything put away, take some stuff to storage, make sure everything is really set up, and I'm going to start thinking about some stuff, because I think I'd like to do a fundraiser for my birthday. You know, something, we'll see. Can't say just yet. But my birthday's coming up in a fortnight, more or less. So it's not like we have a lot of time for it. We've got other stuff going on, so it might be near the end of July. I cannot promise it, and I don't know if I can, but I just was thinking about how the world is right now. And I think it would be kind of nice to do like 2 fundraisers a year, once on my birthday and once for my streamiversary, since that's about 6 months apart. So either we will or we won't. If we don't do it this birthday, we will do it next birthday. But yeah, that's what I want to do. Also, come and join the Discord. And also find me here, Trooper SJP, here on Twitch or YouTube. If you're hanging out in the YouTube, if you would give me a subscribe, that would be great. And you can find me at Academic Foxhole on Patreon, which all the Patreon goes to help support the casts of the shows, me excluded, because I pay them first. And then also Trooper SJP on Blue Sky, Academic Foxhole on Fourth Wall, and we have a cool merch store with really cool merch that I'm really excited about. And we've got, just be there for that. And Baron Tori, it's so good to see you. Thank you for the rest. Thank you for the good wishes for the weekend. I am going to do a raid because we haven't raided in a while, and I want to raid. Let us see who is up, who we can give some raiding love to give them love. I am seeing. Oh, Jackie Dash is having her 8th stream anniversary right now, and we're going to raid Jackie Dash. That is what we're going to do, because Jackie Dash is awesome, and we're going to raid Jackie Dash. That's it. That's what we're going to do. So everybody, give Jackie Dash love, and don't forget our raid command. And catch you on the flip side, everybody. Yeah. Catch you on the flip side.